mainstream media are expected to improve after President Uhuru Kenyatta launched a new hospital. Speaking during the launch in the company of ODM Chief Raila Odinga, President Kenyatta promised that the hospital would offer 24-hour services to Kenyans. He said that the partnership between him and Odinga has seen the successful implementation of the project.
Watu wakiwa wagonjwa usiku, hii hospitali haitakuwa inafungwa. Itakuwa inafanya kazi 24 hours a day, usiku na mchana, watu wapatiwe huduma yao. Na ndio naambia wale ambao wanachukia ya kwamba nilienda nikatafuta baba na tukashikana mkono, waone na wasome faida ya amani na faida ya umoja.
The hospital is one of the hospitals built by the Nairobi Metropolitan Services under Major Mohammed Badi. The increase in fuel prices was due to hiking fuel prices around the world, as well as the need to control fraudulent traders who have been mixing diesel and kerosene. This is according to principal secretaries in the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum and Minerals who appeared before the Finance and Planning Committee of the National Assembly, which is pushing for a reduction in fuel prices.
There is a serious shortage of crude oil in terms of production. The stores of most places are quite low, so of course it increases the price. So that leaves us really exposed to the price movements. We believe that the current price is robust. The price formula is robust. So during the period April to August 2021, the amount paid out to the oil marketing companies for the stabilization of pump prices was 8,674,683,453 shillings and 62 cents.
It's all systems go for Kanu's National Delegates Conference taking place today at the Bomas of Kenya. Today's meeting, according to party officials, will be important as it prepares itself for the upcoming 2022 general elections. It is expected that the delegates will retreat their position and announce Kanu chairman Gideon Moi as their preferred presidential candidate. On different occasions, Moi has maintained that Kanu leaders will provide the right direction even as part of the One Kenya Alliance. Different leaders spoke of their preparations and Kanu's position on next year's election.
The Kanu that we know, he should definitely step up to the plate and rise up to the occasion and be the party of independence and be the party that can also offer leadership for this country.
For quite some time, it has been people who have been mentioning for him, and it has been people who have been afraid of him being a candidate. He has never said. Now this is the time he's saying. We expect a lot from this nation and some political dynamics.
This is the right time for our party to fill a candidate. So we have been away for a long time, and now it's a call from Kenyans, and they said Gideon Moi must go for this seat.
To sports, and Arsenal midfielder Granit Xhaka will be out of action for 3 months due to a knee injury sustained in Sunday's victory against Tottenham Hotspur. Arsenal said the Switzerland captain has a significant injury to his medial knee ligament. Xhaka was replaced after 82nd minute in the 3-1 win at Emirates Stadium. The Arsenal statement said a specialist consultation took place on Tuesday evening, which has determined that Granit does not require surgery. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
No, you know, this wheelbarrow, how can you give people wheelbarrow? His party symbol is an umbrella. Is he distributing umbrellas in Makueni?
Have you been told if we don't lock between 10 to 4, this is what we're saving?
You try and call them, the same person who was in your house every day, because they know you are influential and you will give them votes. Call them after 1 month and see if they'll pick up their phone.
Don't tell your member of parliament that you want him to come and build a school, you want him to come and do a hospital. That is not the work of the member. Now that we have devolution in this country, these resources should go to those devolved units.
You have to have strong, independent institutions. And I mean, you have to have police who has the right to take the biggest town in the country and question, why did you do this and that, and send them to court if necessary.
Joel in Kericho, good morning.
Salama sana Eric, habari ya asubuhi.
Salama kabisa. Mbunge wako ni nani?
Anaitwa Seriousness Martin, hapa ni Aina Moi.
Seriousness Martin, Aina Moi.
Yes. Sasa ile juma namwambia yeye nini? Amalize aende.
Oh, wow.
Asante sana.
That's it.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
SpiceFM.
All right, how are we kicking off Thursday morning? And it seems like we're doing so with just a little bit of traffic in certain parts of the city. Nothing too crazy, though, building up in the usual parts of Mombasa Road today. But everywhere is clear at the moment. Have you left where you are, headed to where you're going? You shouldn't have too much traffic, especially if you're looking at Gong Road, coming off of Jogo Road, moving slowly into the city without too much of a problem, at least not for now. Mombasa Road looks good, as does the Thika Superhighway. No traffic at all. Hopefully we can say this again during the hours, but probably won't be likely. But for now, it looks really good. If you have left, you're enjoying the easy streets. Let's talk in a while and see how this may build up later. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Let's text on 40127. We've started Thursday off right. Let's keep it that way.
Are you ready? Okay. Spice FM. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
Yes, very good morning to you. It's 8 minutes after 6, Kenya's biggest conversation. It begins now. How are you doing, Ndu Okoh?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. You well?
Yes.
Very good.
How are you?
I am very well. Yes.
Salama kabisa.
Kabisa. Ndugu City Muga.
Kaka mpendo niambie.
Hujambo?
Mimi si jambo.
You well?
Thank you for asking. I am well.
Very good.
Kaka mpendo is what?
Beloved brother.
Oh, wow. So sweet.
Ndio?
Yeah. Warm and fuzzy feelings you're eliciting this morning.
Oh.
Is it fuzzy feelings or fuzzy Kiswahili?
The Swahili has elicited the fuzzy feelings.
Oh. That song is still playing in my head.
Which one?
Ruben Kigame and Gloria Muliro. Huniachi. Two of some of my most favorite gospel artists. Yes. Uliahidi wewe Bwana huniachi.
Oh, I know the song.
Hadi mwisho wa dahari ulisema huniachi.
Don't leave me.
Yes. Wewe ni Mungu uliye mwaminifu siku zote. Mimi ninaiweka imani yangu kwako Bwana.
Hey, sheesh.
Right.
See, fuzzy feelings.
Very good song. Very good. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Today we are going to... Where's my phone? Okay. It's all right then. Today we'll be having a conversation on vaccination and the vaccine drive around the country, all right? So yes, we know we are still receiving. We are buying some vaccines and we are receiving many donations. About 1 million Pfizer doses already now in the country. We have received Johnson & Johnson. We have bought Johnson & Johnson. We have also bought the ones that we bought for AstraZeneca. Have they come?
That's a good question.
Well, we have received AstraZeneca doses in the country. All these, and then the vaccine rollout happening in the country. So we'll have the man who's in charge of COVID vaccine rollout Dr. Willie Sahwale in the studio. We'll also have the person who replaced Dr. Mulwa as the chair of all the county CECs for health. He is the Muranga CEC for health, Dr. Mbai. He'll be speaking to us as well. We want to understand what's happening in that. We'll be looking at what else is happening around the world, some cabinet reshuffles here and there and all. Let's begin with the COVID-19 restrictions in transit. No, let's begin with COVID-19 numbers.
All right. So let's look at the numbers. 404 new cases, 231 recoveries, 3 deaths. Ministry of Health Wednesday announced these. From a sample size of 6,309 tested positive in the last 24 hours, slightly higher positivity rate now at 6.4, total confirmed infections at just shy of 250,000. Still looking at vaccinating quite a number of people in the country. Now, if I can look at where we are right now with countrywide vaccinations, just going to pull that up in a minute. Still trying to get towards that 5.8 million by Mashuja Day. And that's what the Ministry of Health is saying. Look, this is what we are intent on. Still calling folks out to come and get their vaccinations done. Okay. At the same time, those stories that we saw, I think there were some advisories that came out from the Ministry of Interior yesterday. PS Kibicho saying some things about foreigners on transit. Interestingly enough, yesterday in my neighborhood in the evening, it was easily about 150 of these. Yes. Of these.
Wait.
I'm not kidding you.
Have you set up a tent or where are they staying?
They're just walking.
But where are they staying?
So there's a number of Airbnbs in the area, and they're staying there, supposedly on transit. Of these gentlemen in the area, they've actually gone to an area there to slaughter some meat and take it wherever they were.
In the bush?
They were staying, I don't know.
They were slaughtering in the bush?
No. So there's some Maasais in that area who herd cattle.
All right.
So they went to look for meat, and they
bought goats
and slaughtered it right there, and then now taking it to wherever they were going.
Wow.
Easily, a walk in the evening, right? So apparently they're all over Nairobi. Nairobi is what they're using as a transit point to go back to Saudi Arabia. Government has announced now that it will restrict foreigners transiting through Kenyan airports to reduce the risk of increasing or spreading COVID-19. This has all come about as, more and more of these reports have come up. Okay, where are all these people coming from and what are they doing here? Who are they? And we're looking at COVID times. Are we sure? If they're supposed to be quarantining, they're not, because they're all over the neighborhoods. Right. And they're in certain areas, the Syokimau area, parts of Kilimani, parts of Hurlingham, they're everywhere.
4 counties, Nairobi, Kiambu, Machakos, Kajiado.
Yeah. They're everywhere, and we're not talking about in the hundreds. By the time we're here now, thousands have come in and out. So what's happening in terms of quarantining? What's happening in terms of COVID protocols? Or are they just being allowed to come in and then roam about? The reason why they cannot go directly from Pakistan to Saudi Arabia is because of this. Because Saudi Arabia is not allowing them in because of COVID. But they can come from Kenya. Why are we just opening up and allowing this to happen? Anyway,
this will be a big conversation.
Yeah, based on this, PS Karanja Kibicho said that there will be a crackdown on foreigners who do not have the right papers. And if they find out that some of these individuals who've been milling about...
There's actually a bit more that has happened. Let's talk about it after this break.
There's more.
It's 6:15. We'll talk about it, City. Yeah? Let's take a break. We are live streaming already on SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And we'd like to see who's online. We really always appreciate it when we do this roll call, telling us wherever you're tuned in. We don't take it for granted. And thank you very much for taking the time to let us know that you're tuned in. Very good morning to you. This is Kenya's biggest conversation.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Spice 24/7 around the world non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Hello.
Halo, umesikia?
Nimesikia nini?
Hujasikia habari? Hebu acha nikuambie. Kile kimetokea.
Hello. Hello? Hello?
Don't wait for hearsay. Dial *550*1# to read the Standard e-paper from the convenience of your mobile phone for only 20 shillings from your telecom line, and stay up to date for a reliable source with over 100 years of experience with no additional data charges.
The opportunities are here. Project X, the biggest youth empowerment project in Africa for young creatives, is here. Are you a model, a fashion designer, or a performing artist? Then this is the opportunity you have been waiting for. Register now for the opportunity of a lifetime by following @OpportunitiesAreHere on Instagram and the Opportunities Are Here on Facebook for more information and the registration link. Online selections begin on the 12th of October and registration closes on the 22nd of October. The Opportunities Are Here is a project by the Ethical Fashion Initiative in partnership with the European Union. Project X is co-produced by KTN Home and Vibes Radio.
Partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning at 14 currently, highs of 27. In Nakuru, mostly cloudy at 14, highs of 27 and lows of 14 today. Nyeri, raining this morning at 15, that'll be the low, going to highs of 24. Eldoret is mostly clear this morning at 11, it'll go to highs of 26. Looking into Mombasa, sprinkle in some parts at 25, highs of 29 and lows of 24. While also in Malindi, we'll experience rain this morning, highs of 29 and lows of 24. Kisumu, rain showers as well at 19, cooling things off, going to highs of 30 today and lows of 19. While in Kakamega, 18 degrees and clear, highs of 29 and lows of 16. Look out into Kampala, where it's mostly cloudy at 22, highs of 28 and lows of 19. Dar es Salaam, mostly clear conditions at 23, highs of 30. Johannesburg this morning is mostly clear at 13, that'll be the low, going to highs of 23, while Lagos is clear for now at 25. 24 will be the low today, highs of 30. Kinshasa, clear skies at 25, highs of 32 and lows of 24. Out east into Beijing, it's raining at 20, going into early afternoon, it'll go to highs of 23, experience lows of 15. Paris, a bit of a chilly morning at 7, highs of 17 and lows of that. It's clear, however. It's also clear in London at 9. That'll be the low, highs of 16. And still Wednesday night in New York, it's cloudy at 18. Ringing into Thursday, we see highs of 20 and lows of 14.
Spice FM. Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's a full and overflowing.
Okay.
It's a full and overflowing house this morning.
It's just doing its own thing.
Clearly.
It decided to do it twice for good measure.
Excited to see everybody in the room this morning. I guess that's what it is. David Wasubukia, good morning to you. We can see you shouting it out from the mountaintops. Asante Sana. Kevin Kipsang says it has all exactly beaten Kenyans. Okay, we're talking about what now? Perhaps COVID? Beating Kenya? Okay, well, Kevin, good morning to you and welcome. Maureen Jola says, good morning. Amos Freeman in Kimilili is in the room this morning. Situation Room says it's my all-time religion. That's nice, Amos. Abraham Lucorito tuned in this morning. Abid Wata is in as well. Kolo, guten Morgen. Oh, well, guten Morgen to you. He's tuned in from Berlin, getting you online. Asante Sana. Ben Okinda Wood Migori. Wa Godkweru Kababa, fully tuned in from Naivasha. Oh, okay. And also Bay Ashley tuned in. Titus Ombeta, Leban Tanui Kapte. Okay, now the countries of Africa. Uganda tuned in this morning from Kampala, and then we also see from Botswana. Gordon Mugisha also tuned in from Uganda this morning. Sky Tarish says you need to organize a praise and worship team. Eric, over to you, man.
You're ready. Yeah.
Okay. Rafa Mudheo. Hey, I'm Mudheo. I know Mudheo. Somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
He's tuned in from Nanyuki. And Kibagendi Lorna tuned in this morning from Kisii. Hamjambo Wangwana tuned in from Namchumbi. Hey, I don't know where that is. Janet Wawere tuned in from the metropolis of Wangata Rongai. And Mageto Mikotse tuned in from Bungoma. Good morning, James says. Hapa pwani SpiceFM ikombele kama mfuko wa shati. That's Joel Mwanyaga. I can see all of you. Can't get to you all, but thank you for joining us.
Where's Dorcas?
Dorcas talked to us yesterday, actually. She told us she was from somewhere in Malindi. Dorcas is around.
Okay.
Dorcas, Eric is looking for you. So you
Okay.
tell us you're here.
Okay. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. CT, today's proverb. Did Mwalimu come through?
I didn't get in touch with him. It's not him who didn't come through. It is
Okay.
I who didn't come through.
Okay.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold.
Unless it's a warm bathtub.
There. You see, traditionally, one didn't think bathtubs. One thought river, a water body. And it wasn't a bathtub.
Unless it was a hot spring.
Or a pail. And how many places have hot springs?
Baringo.
This proverb is clearly not from a place that has hot springs.
It may have hot springs, but it also has rivers. People don't usually go to hot springs to have a bath. It's not usual.
No?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
They go to convalesce or they go to...
Boil eggs.
Okay. That also.
It's a tourism attraction for when going to Lake Bogoria. You must carry some eggs to prove that thing is what
It's actually what it's
is
all
hot.
touted to be.
Yes.
What causes that?
What the Jesus from the ground?
The Jesus with a G.
The Jesus from the G, otherwise known as Guy says. Geographical phenomenon. Who understands? The warming of the earth is, at a higher temperature in some parts than others. The core. Experienced then through water.
It's a message
higher
from the
rate
underworld.
Saying we are here.
We're here.
Mess around and we'll swallow you.
Yeah. And we are hot.
So it lends credence to the fact that hell is somewhere down here.
Yes, sir.
And there are some that hell is a hot place.
Yes.
Hot as in temperature, temperature high, fire.
Very high.
Will burn you.
Melt you.
That's a good proverb. Where is it from?
Africa.
Some parts of Africa?
Yes.
Okay, that have rivers. Cold rivers.
Yes. Apart from the Sahel, some of the areas where you actually have deserts. Many parts of this continent of sub-Saharan Africa, they have rivers.
Okay.
Of varying sizes, but they have rivers.
Let's look at the headlines. Now that we were talking about that issue from the Ministry of Interior yesterday. So again, the Ministry of Interior yesterday releases a statement, says, after 4 months, we've noticed that there's an increase in the number of passengers transiting through Kenya using our airports. And we've also noticed that they are staying here for a while as they transit. Now, this has raised concern because of the threat posed on COVID-19 infections in the country. And we have also noticed that a majority of those who are transiting in those last 4 months have been coming from Pakistan en route to the Middle East. Now, the government says it has ordered an immediate crackdown on any illegals in the country. They're not illegals. And they also say that they're going to take action. Followed by that is a note verbal from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Kenya to the embassy, the High Commission of Pakistan in Nairobi. Shall I read?
Please read.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya presents the compliments to the High Commission of Pakistan in Nairobi and has the honor to note that the government of Kenya's attention has been drawn to a recent spike in the number of persons traveling from Pakistan en route to Saudi Arabia and other countries transiting through Kenya. The government of Kenya regrets that some of these passengers are taking advantage of Kenya's status with these countries with regard to COVID-19 quarantine regulations. This threatens to undermine Kenya's agreements with these countries, which are put in place to ensure continuation of business and travel operations between the countries. Kenya seeks Pakistan's cooperation and solidarity in ensuring adherence to these arrangements. This is a fundamental imperative as the world seeks to contain the pandemic and ensure full economic recovery. In that regard, the government of Kenya wishes to inform that Kenya is hereby stopping the visa-free transit arrangement with Pakistan. That until further notice, Kenya will require visas for passengers from Pakistan to Kenya. Kenya will therefore not accept passengers from Pakistan without entry visas to the country. Those who fail to abide by these provisions will be turned away and required to leave the country immediately upon arrival. It goes further, right? So basically they've said, you've been coming into the country while we've had this visa-free arrangement of you arriving into the country and they're just getting the visa upon arrival. Now, we are stopping. That is not happening anymore because it's actually not only endangering our citizens in terms of being exposed to COVID-19, it's also endangering our own status with Saudi Arabia. Very soon Saudi Arabia will say, now, in fact,
coming from Kenya.
Those in the countries, Pakistan, blah, blah, add Kenya. Now, it has taken so long for the government to actually act on this. Why?
4 months, man. Do you remember
when the government tells you 4 months?
It's longer than that. But there were murmurings. Do you remember that there were murmurings and people started complaining, especially when we saw this happening in the Milimani area.
Yep.
And people said, wait, we're seeing a lot of folks like this, kanzu-clad individuals, what's going on? And it was, okay, conspiracy here and there. And then this conversation kind of died. And then it started to pick up when you started to see closet towns, closet areas of Nairobi, Syokimau, and further down. And then Kiambu Road then started to ask, what exactly is going on here? And again, is it that it took public outcry before the government acted? And we have seen more and more cases of this, not just with these individuals.
Yeah.
Kianjakoma brothers, people started making noise, and then there was action. People make noise, and then there's action. I understand that sometimes you will need citizen participation to then be aware of a situation. But 4 months, like you said, happening much longer than.
But Ministry of Interior.
Yes.
Are they not the people who are in charge of immigration?
They should have an eye on this. They're coming through.
But these people have not come through some panya routes.
Nope. They
through
flew
the
in.
airport.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, they have...
It's flights
yes.
coming
get
from
in.
Pakistan,
Yes. You
land
buy
at
a visa for $50 and you get in.
Now, I mean, in all honesty, the place where they should have been stopped would have been the airport.
Yep.
But you see, Pakistan is one of the countries that you can buy a visa on arrival
It's
without
a visa
question.
free.
I do not have a problem with the buying of the visa. We have that arrangement, it's understood. I am saying these people did not enter the country illegally.
Exactly. They were allowed in,
Yeah.
given permission to enter.
Yes.
And the government was just sitting back and watching,
Yes.
you know?
And it isn't as though COVID began today, and so we are kicking a fuss about the people who came yesterday. No. We've had COVID with us now, what, 2 years?
Yep.
So, the danger and the risks of COVID, especially certain variants that are peculiar to that part of the world, have always been there.
This is it.
So, what is this discussion that they're engaging us with right now?
And, further than that, just like we had this talked about yesterday, so there's MOFA, right? There's the Ministry of Interior. There's the Ministry of Health. COVID protocols being now the highest bone of contention here, that even after you've let them in, all right, immigration lets them in, okay, who is certifying that these individuals, knowing very well the threat that the COVID variants are placing, that we are at risk of, who is making sure that they're in quarantine? If that is even a requirement in the first place. Have they been told you must quarantine for 10 days? Or that while you're on transit, you must quarantine and then you will move from your place of residence directly to the airport? Was there any kind of due diligence done
Do you
there?
get the impression that there's any restriction to the movement of these people?
Of course not.
No, I saw easily 150 men yesterday evening milling about as though they own the place. Just no problem whatsoever. It looks like folks who are quarantined.
No, it's good to have visitors.
Them... Actually, I don't put any blame on them.
No, it's not their fault.
They're here. They are a community. They are going to work. It's good actually when you're going to work and you're going to work in such a country. Many of you going through this whole process of you want to make sure that by the time you arrive in Saudi Arabia, you prove that you have not come from Pakistan. You've
So you have
actually
to be
come
here
from
for
a
a while.
third country. Yes.
Yes.
So it's for them, it's fine. Our government as well has very many questions
Due
to answer.
diligence. Yes.
Not even our government, the specific individuals whose docket it is
Yep.
to ensure that certain protocols are adhered to.
And those, in the president's own wisdom, he put them all together into one committee called the National Emergency Response Committee.
Yes.
It's chaired by the Health Ministry. It has the Ministry of Interior in it. It has the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in it. There's a reason why those cabinet secretaries are in that committee. It's because we understood COVID, borders, COVID, interior, COVID, health.
Immigration. Surely.
No brainer. Now, the government coming to act like this, I think we basically have mismanaged a very big opportunity. On one hand, I look at it this way. If you look at all those people, 150 or so, that is revenue that has come to people who actually own property.
Sure.
And those properties were empty. The reason why they're coming and they're finding space to stay immediately
Because they were empty.
is because there are properties that are empty. One. Two, we have this unique position that we are in geographically. Three, the position that we have with Saudi Arabia. I mean, if we had managed this very well, we could have made sure that, yes, we've told Saudi Arabia we'll make sure that they stay here for 21 days before they come.
Right before they come.
And when they come here, it'll be our responsibility to make sure that they're quarantined, they're tested,
Yes.
We could have done it
Saudi
very
Arabia
well.
has an embassy here.
Yes.
Okay. And they could very well have...
The Embassy of Saudi Arabia.
Oh.
You see?
She heard you.
I wasn't talking to you.
She will tell you, oh, sorry.
You were talking to
The Embassy of Saudi Arabia can have oversight over such things. I mean, why is it that an emergency is arising out of a non-emergency?
Something that needn't be. You see? Now we're tailing back to try and sort out an issue.
And it's being made an issue. Where is the issue here? Look, you want to talk about Pakistanis. How many people from the African continent come to this city of ours here?
Yeah.
How many?
Many. Then
How
the government one
many?
day wakes up and orders a crackdown and arrests people and truck
No.
roads.
That's not the way to do it. This is how they used to do it when they used to harass Somalis and harass Ethiopians.
Yep. And Nigerians as well.
Yes. You know, that one, so long as you come from West Africa.
You're a Nigerian.
Nigerian.
It's 27 minutes to 7. Kenya's biggest conversation continues. Let's see how the roads are looking like.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. "24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Gone are the days when hiring should be about hitting the brick wall, because we understand how much it means to have the ideal candidate working for you and your organization. That's why at Standard Jobs website, we offer the complete employer dashboard that lets you interact fully with applicants, lets you track the full hiring process through a qualified specific smart search tool. What's more, we offer a full-on custom branded page that lets your company stand out with your own to choose custom page. So visit www.standardmedia.co.ke/jobs today and let's help you find the next ideal candidate for you.
24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM. Spice FM, Malindi.
There's a steady build-up of traffic on most of the roads in Nairobi this morning, though it's not too bad at the moment. Coming out of Westlands, building up, going towards the city. Jogger Road, steady, but getting packed already. Landis Road, free and clear as you get to the roundabouts at Kamkunji. Shouldn't pose too much of an issue, at least not for now. It's also building up on Langata Road, and that's joining the roundabout at Lusaka. Aerodrome Road looking very good. At Bunyala roundabout, however, inbound the city, that has clogged up just a bit as you get past that roundabout there and that road towards the junction towards Upper Hill. Apart from that, doesn't look too bad. Langata Road is already building up, and this is spilling over from the Southern Bypass. Southern Bypass, however, is very clear until you get to that junction. Makadara on Jogger Road is where you should also look at. Donholm, that entire area going towards Manyanja, and also North Airport Road looks very good getting into the city. Where it is piling up, however, is on the Thika Superhighway, getting out towards Muthui at the square there, and then towards Pangani, but nothing too neck-breaking at the moment. It's a good time to be out so that you don't get stuck. We'll see what it looks like in a short while, but for now, it looks like easy streets. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. You know the drill. Text on 40127. Let's keep things moving this Thursday.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
So Dorcas is awake, huh?
Yes.
Good.
Watu, she says.
I am Najua niaje. Okay. What are you looking at?
So there was a cabinet reshuffle yesterday. Ding ding. Did you hear? Power at play in surprise cabinet reshuffle. And that's what's on the front page of the Standard. The Nation says Uhuru cuts Ruto power in reshuffle. Okay, so take it as you may.
Yes.
But there was a reshuffle either way. Uhuru overhauls the leadership at the Energy Ministry by removing the CS and PS to other dockets, hours after directing full implementation of a report that will cut the cost of electricity by 1/3. So there are two stories here. We have seen on the other side, we can look at that later, that we will see a steady decrease in power costs over the next 4 months. So that implementation will bring the lower cost of power into being a reality. Now, this was happening at the same time when this cabinet reshuffle happened. Key people moved, right? Now, he reassigned the Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter and Principal Secretary Joseph Njoroge. The changes were announced after a meeting between President Kenyatta, Mr. Keter and Njoroge, and the Presidential Task Force on Review of Power Purchase Agreements amid public outcry over rising power costs. Again, another time when the public has cried and then there's been a reaction. The changes also come at a time of uneasiness at Kenya Power, with the unceremonious exit of Chief Executive Officer Bernard Gogi and the board under probe by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission over alleged wars over tenders and interference in management affairs. But the elephant in the room that might have triggered the exit of the CS and PS is the task force report that President Kenyatta wants implemented within 3 months to cushion Kenyans from the high cost of living. Among the recommendations by the John Gumi-led team is the reduction of the cost of electricity to 16 shillings per unit from the current 24. This would translate to 33% drop within 4 months, and as such, it is expected the cost of electricity will come down by 1/3 by Christmas. Inside sources say the CS and PS were moved after they communicated their reservations about the practicality of the recommendations by the task force. The source told the Standard that the president decided to bring in a new team to deal with the matter. The recommendations will be implemented by Dr. Monica Juma, who moves then from the docket of defense. And until yesterday, the Defense Cabinet Secretary and the new PS Major General Gordon Kihalangwa. All right?
Yeah.
Keter will take over at the Ministry of Devolution, whose Department of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands was moved to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. And Eugene Wamalwa will take over from Dr. Monica Juma at Defense. Njoroge has been reassigned to the State Department of Transport. According to spokesperson Kanze Dena for State House, the presidential action better orientates portfolio responsibilities with both national development plans as well as the needs of citizens, that introduces functional changes that will make the relevant ministries and state departments more efficient and better able to deliver superlative services to the public.
Okay, so clearly the report by the John Gumi Task Force came and said a number of things, apart from what we've been told in the public, that it's gonna be implemented, and within the next 4 months, a 35% drop, 33% drop in power prices. There's also something else that has been pinned at the energy ministry, and that's why there was a purge at the energy ministry. You remove the PS and the CS, together. Kwendeni.
Which is rare.
Kwendeni. And then you bring a general and somebody who has been dealing with generals to that ministry. The lady who has worked with generals to revamp Kenya Meat Commission has been brought to deal with these guys at the energy ministry.
These errands.
And a general who has been everywhere. He went and streamlined immigration. He was taken to public works. He's now been brought to the energy.
To serve under the CS.
To serve under the Mama Majeshi.
Yes.
My friend, there's something that's going to happen to the energy ministry.
But isn't it a message?
Hopefully.
It's a message there.
Yep.
The same message that we looked at when we saw, okay, the cleanup of the Kenya Meat Commission, the cleanup of Nairobi, the cleanup where Dr. Juma has previously been. So the same thing now is being pushed here. Another cleanup at the energy ministry where a mess had been created.
Bring in the generals.
Often the mess is an entrenched reluctance to accept change.
Yeah.
Which means even when it is suggested there could be an alternate way of doing something, it is resisted.
Yep.
No, we don't think so.
We actually don't think so.
It doesn't really...
No.
So you're told, hello.
Yes.
So you're told, okay, so thank you. Now,
that's all right. We've understood.
We've understood. Now, let me take you to where your thoughts and considerations will be better accepted. But for here, right now, you cannot help our cause.
There's something that Dr. Juma said when she was here. Among the many important things that she said, this one stuck in my mind. She said, there was a budget for paying employees at Kenya Meat Commission. The budget existed. The employees were paid every month. Now, the payment is for them to function at full capacity.
Yep.
Those fellows were barely functioning at a tenth of their capacity, but still being paid.
Yep. They're slaughtering what? How many animals were they slaughtering a day? Was it 200 or something like that?
Not every day. It was less.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to remember the exact details, but it was one of these shocking figures. You listen to the number and you say, goodness. So I mean, that's a number that probably the employees and their families could just eat in a week.
Yes. So then the question is, if you move the PS and look at what has happened. So Katera is being moved from energy, taken to devolution. But when he's taken to devolution, the devolution first is stripped of the big core function that has a lot of money and influence, the arid and semi-arid lands. That's the one that's coordinating what? Relief operations. The one that is in charge of the 2 billion shillings plus the other 6 or so billion shillings that has come to address the current drought. That is moved. So Katera, you're only given devolution, deal with governance.
Light duties.
The PS, who's been there in charge of energy for a while, who is a former boss at KPLC, is taken to the giant ministry of transport, infrastructure, housing and urban development, but given transport, matatus. Infrastructure is under somebody else. Housing and urban development, somebody else.
Roads.
You deal with matatus. And remember, today, railways and all is under John Gumi, who is now under Treasury.
Who is in that implementation committee, who is giving these recommendations to the president.
So even in this transport, blah, 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 we don't have Kenya Railways. It's in Treasury. So you've basically been given light duties as well. Why not just fire them? Why go to this whole length of just doing all these things?
This is not a ripping off the Band-Aid affair. So you've told us that you can't. We'll now also show you. We're not going to stick it to you just like that. We'll just put you in the corner and in the dark with a candle every now and then.
Actually, no.
It's more of a punishment if you leave them in that position, my friend. You're sending the message further home that I'm not going to sack you, but I'll make you suffer a little bit.
It's a cost.
Next time you'll fall in line.
It's a
cost that they're willing to bear. It's a cost that they're willing to bear.
Is it a cost that Kenyans should be bearing?
The people already employed are already earning a salary, all right? So it's not as though we've employed somebody new.
Yeah, but
you are suggesting that they go. If they were taken off, somebody else would come in and still be paid that salary. So
the cost is not in how much money we are paying them. The cost is in service delivery. You have been moved and you've been stripped because you have been found wanting in the performance of your duty.
And that's the message that is being sent.
And that's the thing we keep talking about here. Can Jokoma 6G you transferred to where?
Somewhere,
that doesn't help. That doesn't help.
Eric, there is something called tradition.
So this is maintaining tradition.
This is maintaining tradition. This is not even a slap on the wrist. Okay? This is a handshake.
I wonder, I can see Kater, I can see Njoroge. I wonder what did Chelugui do at Labour?
What did he do?
Those who, what did he do? The things I have heard are very positive about Chelugui.
Remember, this whole issue we're talking about labor relations, labor stuff. The UK, nurses going to the UK, labor.
Saudi Arabia
issues.
Middle East.
Labor. So there are issues with the labor ministry.
There are issues.
And then the whole issue of the audit that was done, whether the money that was geared for the disadvantaged during COVID was actually sent there.
Kenyans
labor
dying.
And social protection.
Dying unanswered. That have gone to work in other countries. Labor issue.
Yes. The money which was sent, was it not spent?
The money for the adults, for the wazee.
It was spent.
And the poor families.
Spent by somebody.
Was it not spent? And isn't it on record that they receive it on a monthly basis?
Yes,
and is it not also a fact that when you talk to the elderly, they ask you what you're talking about?
What's the problem?
Which money? I said, yes. There was some money I received 6 months ago. I received it again.
Oh.
No, was I supposed to receive it again?
Take a break. 13 to 7.
SpiceFM.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, everybody steals. It's better a thief who brings something small back. And I say to myself, there's no better thief. A thief is a thief, period.
All those bribes, how much they're getting per year, how much inconvenience they're causing, as much as you call it a small case, it's worth it to be convicted.
The truth is, we are a tribal nation. Because if we were not tribal, and I want to go back to this, you cannot continue walking around with a mug which is clean outside and it's rotten inside.
We have become a fuliza country. We have mortgaged our country because of debt.
You've got one chef working and the assistant chef wakati anatakana koroge unga nini hayuko.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. 102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings.
All right, 12 to 7, business.
94.1.
Apart from the business section.
In the business daily.
The business daily.
Okay,
let's look at some real news. Okay. Half of Kenya's jobless give up on work search. Okay. Half of jobless Kenyans have given up looking for work, disheartened by reduced opportunities in a tough economy that has seen many businesses downsize operations in a bid to survive. Data by the KNBS, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, covering the quarter ended March 21st, shows that 1.3 million out of the total 2.49 million jobless Kenyans aged between 15 and 64, and who qualify for the labor force were not actively looking for employment. Now, the way this particular article has been written, it presupposes that all these people who are jobless were either employed before and were now not employed because of COVID, or again, it hints that there were a number who had just never been employed but now seeking employment. Now, employment here means that you work for somebody else, as opposed to being engaged in an enterprise that actually generates some value and in that process also earns you a living.
Is that what it's presupposing, or is it just meaning that you don't have gainful income?
No. All right. Let me give you the statistics so that you understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's in 3 categories. The age bracket, looking for a job, not looking for a job.
Okay.
They have them in these numbers, okay? Age 15 to 24. The numbers looking for a job are 447,000.
15 to 24.
Yes.
These are people who should be students anyway.
Yes.
My goodness.
Looking for a job.
All right.
Not looking for a job, 586 Mm-hmm. Age 25 to 39, not looking for a job, 581,000. That is looking for a job. Not looking for a job, 434,000. Age 40 to 60, 197,000 looking for a job, 194,000 not looking for a job. Age 60 to 64, not looking for a job, 8,170. Not looking for a job, 15,000. So, if you look at the balance, actually, this is very interesting. According to this timetable, 1.264 million are not looking for jobs, 1.231 looking for a job. Meaning, the numbers looking and the ones not looking. And out of a total of those who are eligible, which is something like 2.4 million, almost half and half. Half are looking for a job, the other half are not looking for a job.
Wow.
No. Yes.
Okay.
But remember...
Does that signify that they have given up?
Yes, they have.
That's it, eh?
That's what this article seems to be.
We are no longer looking for a job.
No. They are not bothering to look for a job. Yes.
There they are.
Now, the question, then what are they bothering to do?
Yes. Is it that they've decided, I'm going to look for something to do, or I'm just going to sit here? I mean, I've given up. I have no hope.
No,
it's highly unlikely in this country that somebody will just sit back. That many number of people would just be saying, sitting back, giving up. They're definitely looking for something else to do. It's just that they've decided salaried employment is what they are not going for. Yeah.
Now, the thing that I wanted to bring to our attention, look at these numbers as they've been mentioned, and consider that somebody who has given up, it means we're looking for they've given up.
Yeah.
What do you think is their state of mind?
Yeah.
Because it's clearly not hopeful.
Yep.
Now, so you have all these people and more whom we don't mention, who are not captured, who are tottering on the brink of depression. Because when you give up, usually it's an indication that you are also embarking on that path of being depressed.
My goodness.
If not already there.
Yep, and many are there. Page 3 of the Standard. Shock after months, 3 children die in house fire. Now, this happened in Turi village of Molo. This man, his name is George Ongeri. He had 3 children. He'd separated from his wife. He had 3 children, a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So, on Tuesday evening, he left them in the house. In the evening, he was going to fetch milk from a neighbor's house. Where his house is in the middle of a farm, and there's maize crop all around it. So he went to look for milk at a neighbor's house, which is a bit of a distance. While there, he's called by neighbors, come back, there's a fire. Why is the fire? The fire is in his house. So he's rushing back, hoping that his kids have gotten out of the house, at least. Gets there, finds a crowd fighting to battle the blaze. Looks around, he doesn't see his kids. Turns out that the 3 children, 6, 5, and 4, died in that fire. He doesn't know what started the fire, but it took villagers, neighbors, a bit of time to notice the fire because the house is in the middle of this maize farm. So by the time they were noticing the smoke, the fire had actually really spread. And these are young kids. So in one fell swoop, the man has been left homeless and childless. He says, it is painful that I have lost all my children and property. My neighbors tried their best, but nothing was salvaged. Senior chief of the area, Njoroge Muthui, says the children are all burnt beyond recognition. Now, when you're talking about state of people's minds, this is a place where now you say that's the Department for Social Protection should have people on the ground taking care of such a man. Because what is he going through? You know you left your kids in the house. You're going to get milk to come and make whatever you're going to make for supper. You're the one who's actually taking care of them. you parted ways with your wife and then they've died.
It's enough to knock you off. It's enough to step over.
Why?
The rails, my goodness.
Remember the other day when we were talking about this, and I mentioned that in my mind, the indicators that we're looking for are not necessarily just the people who are under undue stress, but just the numbers who, one, may not even know that they're under stress. But if you look at the indicators, why, for instance, do you think, and you pointed it out, why do you think people are really quite reluctant to deal with other people's problems? Because you have enough of your own.
Yep.
And when you hear of someone's problem, that's why when you ask somebody how they are, you expect them to tell you they are fine.
Because you don't have enough space.
Fine here doesn't necessarily mean the fine of the English language.
No.
It means I'm coping. So far, I'm still coping. I understand you have issues, but yeah.
And I am telling you this, I'm asking you how you're doing in the hope that you're not going to go into details of telling me what you're really going through.
Yeah.
Because I really do not.
I can't.
No.
I can't.
You've actually got it.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me, what does that tell you when basic social graces, like simply finding out how your neighbor is faring, is now seen as a burden? What do you think is the mental health situation of the country?
You guys, it's really not good. It really isn't.
Today, I took an Uber to work. It was a very chatty Uber driver, full of opinions. And one of the things that I asked him, when I asked him how he was doing, he told me, Ninangangana. I said, okay, which means I'm struggling. And I asked him, is there any time when you actually say that I'm working and it is fine? Because I said, it's a Kenyan phrase. You ask Kenyans, how are you? I am struggling.
I've not survived too.
Yes, that is the response. Now, I don't take those responses lightly. No. They are very indicative of how Kenyans consider or look at normal. Normalcy is struggling and striving and going through a hard time.
Yeah.
That's normalcy.
That's why we have the word hustle.
Yes, now, you tell me.
You're a hustler.
Yes. You ask somebody what they're doing. I
you-
said, I'm just hustling. Now, you tell me. People are constantly hustling. If there is at least a glimmer of light at the end of that tunnel, it is good. It means you are moving towards something positive. But if there isn't, can you imagine the load that people walk around with in this country on a daily basis?
Yep.
Daily basis.
That's why you see when there's an incident like mob justice.
Oh, yes.
When people find an opportunity to just vent, you can blame someone. You're the one who's causing us all these problems. You've been caught. You're a thief.
Eric, where do they get those bullets? Because I have seen
They will
most
get
of
them
in
from
town.
anywhere. Somebody will pick a panga.
I had this discussion once with some colleagues of mine and asked them what they would do. To the last person, they said they would join and kick. And asked them, why? He said, my friend, each had a story of how they had been robbed once.
Yeah.
Said, this is the opportunity. I said, but there is no evidence that this person has actually stolen anything. It's somebody that shouted thief.
Yep.
The person who shouted thief may have been the thief. Yes, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. That's not the point.
And why am I confusing issues?
Yes. Good morning. It's 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. It's all systems go for Kanu's National Delegates Conference taking place from 8 a.m. today at the Bomas of Kenya. Today's meeting, according to party officials, will be important as it prepares itself for the upcoming 2022 general elections. It is expected that the delegates will reiterate their position and announce Kanu chairman Gideon Moi as their preferred presidential candidate. On different occasions, Moi has maintained that Kanu leaders will provide the right direction. Even as part of the One Kenya Alliance, different leaders spoke of the preparations and Kanu's position on next year's elections.
The Kanu that we know he should definitely step up to the plate and rise up to the occasion and be the party of independence and be the party that can also offer leadership for this country.
For quite some time, it has been people who have been mentioning for him, and it has been people who have been afraid of him being a candidate. He has never said. Now this is the time he's saying. We expect a lot from this nation and some political dynamics.
And this is the right time for our party to fill a candidate. So we have been away for a long time, and now it's a calling from Kenyans, and they said, Gideon Moi must go for this seat.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has made changes to his cabinet. In the changes, devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa has been transferred to the Ministry of Defence, previously held by Monica Juma, who has been transferred to the Ministry of Energy, previously held by CS Charles Keter. Keter has been transferred to the Devolution Ministry, headed by Eugene Wamalwa. In a statement issued by the State House spokesperson Kanza Dena, President Kenyatta also made a number of changes to various ministries, some with additional responsibilities.
Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Dr. Monica Juma moves from the Ministry of Defense to the Ministry of Energy. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Charles Keter moves and becomes the Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of Devolution. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Eugene Wamalwa now takes over the Ministry of Defense. Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia retains her portfolio, but as you saw earlier, it was her she got more duties, and with the new ministry, it will now be the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs, and Special Programs.
These changes take effect immediately now. The health status in Kibra is expected to improve after President Uhuru Kenyatta launched a new hospital. Speaking during the launch in the company of ODM Chief Raila Odinga, President Kenyatta promised that the hospital would offer 24-hour services to Kenyans. He said that the partnership between him and Odinga has seen the successful implementation of this project and many others.
Watu wakiwa wagonjwa usiku, hii hospitali haitakuwa inafungwa, itakuwa inafanya kazi 24 hours a day, usiku na mchana, watu wapatiwe huduma yao. Na ndio naambia wale ambao wanachukia ya kwamba nilienda nikatafuta baba na tukashikana mkono, waone na wasome faida ya amani na faida ya umoja.
The hospital is one of the hospitals built by the Nairobi Metropolitan Services under Major Mohammed Badi. The increase in fuel prices was due to hike in fuel prices around the world, as well as the need to control fraudulent traders who have been mixing diesel and kerosene. This is according to principal secretaries in the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum and Minerals, who appeared before the Finance and Planning Committee of the National Assembly, which is pushing for a reduction in fuel prices.
There is a serious shortage of crude oil in terms of production. The stores of most places are quite low, so of course it increases the price. So that leaves us really exposed to the price movements. We believe that the current price is robust. The price formula is robust. So during the period April to August 2021, the amount paid out to the oil marketing companies for the stabilization of pump prices was 8,674,683,453 shillings and 62 cents.
The government has ordered immediate crackdown on foreigners who are in the country illegally. The Ministry of Interior says the exercise will be undertaken by the Department of Immigration and the National Police Service. Interior PS Karanja Kibisha said the number of foreign travelers originating from Pakistan and transiting through the country was alarming, hence prompting the operation that should commence immediately. Now, new Harambee Stars head coach Engin Firat has named a 34-man provisional squad for the upcoming 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mali next month, with a number of long-term absentees making a comeback, notably the quartet of Zambia-based centre-back David Calabao Wino, Greeks Al Larissa left-back Aboud Omar, winger Ovela Ochieng, goalkeeper Farouk Shikalo, and Spain-based Ismail Gonzalez are some of the players who have been recalled. Local-based players enter the camp today, with the foreign-based players linking up with the team depending on their league commitments over the weekend. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Okay, so a few minutes to traffic hour, and it looks like it's already started to build up in places that it was not doing so before. The Thika Superhighway, jam, guys. Moving into the city this morning, we're seeing that extended issue all the way, almost past, actually quite past Survey today. Looking at into Islay and other parts, Pangani, Pumwani, that whole Majengo area, there is quite some traffic as you try to spill over either to Juja Road or come onto Landis Road on the other side. Doesn't look too bad into other parts of the city. Ngong Road building up. Langata Road jam-packed already coming off the southern bypass. Not too much of a problem. Outer Ring performing very well today. Not much of an issue going towards Kangunda Road. And also we're looking at Manyanja in the Donholm area. That looks pretty good. All right, coming out of Westlands is where we're going to see most of the issues right now. But we're going to have to keep abreast of those as the minutes tick by. Industrial area looking good. Lunga and then connecting with the Likoni interchange on Mombasa Road today is looking good as well. Use Enterprise Road from the other side to get onto Mombasa Road without too much of a headache. All right, the bypass is also looking good as well. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text on 40127. We're keeping things moving today.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
It's 8 minutes after 7. Good morning. How are you doing? Dembele Victor, tuned in from Doha, Qatar, kama kawaida. A very good morning. We see you, brother. City, today's proverb.
Right. One does not enter the water and then run from the cold.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold. A good one. A good one. Taking you to a song.
Okay. What it has done, it's a trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yes. To an earlier time in my childhood when we used to go and bath in the river near our home.
And you'd run away from the cold. Never.
I can't remember days on which we went to the river when it was overcast. The sun was always shining, so there was no problem.
There was always some time in the middle of the day.
Yes. And also, one of the things as children, when you went to the river, it was not just to take a bath, it was also to wash clothes. And for some people, and we used to go a group, some people, the clothes they wore would be washed.
Yes.
So they'd be sitting on a stone waiting for the clothes
to dry. So you didn't make a,
But immediately you come out of the water, you're basically shivering the entire body.
Yes.
And that's one of the fun parts of being a child. It's just
you've got it. It's great fun. It's great fun.
You know, we always keep acknowledging the work of active citizens such as Okiya Omtata, who something happens, they have an issue, they feel that the government must have missed a step somewhere, go to court. But I think we also need to acknowledge the work of a friend of the show, Wanjiru Gikonyo, who also does the same. Feels that something is not going right, goes to court to challenge it. Here, she has lost a case, and a petition which she had lodged in the High Court, which has declined a request to invalidate the decision by President Uhuru Kenyatta to create the National Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, NAMATA. Heard of NAMATA? NAMATA is an authority that was set up to deal with those counties of just not Nairobi, the larger metropolitan part area of Nairobi, and to coordinate how mass transport is going to be managed. Now, Wanjiru had gone to court arguing that all the steps taken by the Ministry of Transport and the President towards establishment of Namata were invalid and had no effect in law because the formation of Namata usurped the legislative powers of the national and county assemblies. She was saying, look, we have Nairobi County, Machakos County, Kajiado County, Kiambu County. They have their own powers and mandate to manage transport within their counties. Now, you as a national government, as the president, you can't come and create an authority that comes and tells them how to run the affairs of the county. That's one of the things that she was arguing. She was saying the legal notice issued by the government was not preceded by the appropriate or adequate levels of public participation. She told the court that the National Assembly and county assemblies concerned were not notified of the transfer of county transport functions to the National Assembly. When you create this Namata and it's a national organ, you're basically saying that you've transferred the transport functions from the counties to national. However, Justice Weldon Korir said, no. One, this does not affect anything about their budget and financing of the counties towards transport. Two, when it comes to public participation, there has been adequate, it has been demonstrated that there was sufficient consultation with stakeholders. Number one, those in the matatu industry and the public transport industry. Number two, the relevant counties and the governors were actually involved and invited to workshops by the Ministry of Transport and Namata Secretariat, and they participated and they all agreed. So there was sufficient stakeholder engagement. This one does not necessarily take up any responsibility of transport from any of those counties. It is just a coordinating body. So Justice Weldon Korir says Namata is a legal entity.
So here there's
but
no
why
case.
did Wanjiru and her group feel that it was illegal?
She felt that it was illegal from what they were presented to court.
Yes.
Their translation understanding was, by creating this authority, you're basically moving the functions of transport from the counties to Namata. That Namata now is the one that's going to be in charge of transport and public transport in these areas. And she was arguing that no, that should not be the case. It's unprocedural to go that way.
And Justin Weldon Korir has clarified it.
No, legally constituted, they can actually go that way.
Yes. It's a good thing that we have now that clarity, but I was also wanted to say, let's acknowledge the work that's done by such individuals.
It's interesting that you say that because I think that some of these cases, the way in which they're brought, would do just that.
Yep.
That would provide clarity.
Yep.
That even if it would be seen as a loss for citizens' side, that what it has done is that it has clarified the situation for very many people who may not have understood what Namata's function and role then would be.
But is it really a loss?
I mean,
not necessarily.
Not necessarily. This is exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. That now what you see is that because of this case, because of the way in which it was carried out, then the functions and role of Namata become very clear. Now, if this had not been brought to court, even though the petition then has been shut down, you then get an understanding of what this body has been set up to do. And then it becomes clearer for people. So not a loss completely. There's a gain in it.
But we wouldn't have this clarity if the matter had not gone to court.
That's my point exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
When there is doubt, don't just sit back and say, no, I'm not really sure. Take action.
Take it.
And this is what now these active citizens are doing. Just taking action on their part and saying, let's go and let's seek that clarity. Let's take the time. Let's engage with lawyers. Let's go and seek clarification from the courts. The same thing that they did when it comes to the BBI. Do we have a basic structure in this constitution? Do we have this and the other? And when it's clarified, then now we have precedents upon which to build. Namata is involved in improving the public transport system in the Nairobi metropolitan area through introduction and implementation of mass rapid transit system, comprising of the bus rapid transit system, the commuter rail system, and the non-motorized transport system. Among the major projects that the agency is overseeing is implementation of the 5.6 billion shillings Nairobi bus rapid transit system and the route to support the city's public commuter services. Currently, the agency is undertaking the BRT project alignment along the Thika Superhighway from Ruiru to Kenyatta National Hospital through Nairobi's Central Business District, 27 kilometers in total. So they're the ones who are in charge of that. I'm yet to see any output from what Namata has been doing since they were established in 2017. personally, but let's wait and see. We can see the bus stops being built, and we were told by PS Charles Hinga, the bus stops being built on Thika Road, after which then we'll have procurement for the buses, after which then maybe one day we'll have bus rapid transit. One day. Meanwhile, CT, yesterday, the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Urban Development and Housing toured the project.
The man with the authority to
Yes. He toured the project, and this is the Nairobi Expressway, and the plans to decongest the city. And he said, it's 67% complete. This, by February, we should open and start trialing. March, the president will come and open this project. 2023? No. March 2022.
Okay.
That's what the PS said.
And
the CS.
And 60 what percent?
67, 68, something.
Well, I'm looking at an article that is saying 64. But even if it was 70% complete, when a road is being built, what is it that we need to see for us to understand that it is 70% complete?
They have a dashboard. Go to their office.
Yes, they have a dashboard.
Tick, so what have we done? Have we dug up a hole? Yes, we have dug a hole.
How deep is it?
How deep is it? Is it the required depth? Yes, it's the required depth. Have we put up the... Yes, we have done this. Have we inconvenienced road users? Yes, we have. Have we blocked a way for pedestrians? Yes, we have.
Definitely.
All those are counting as points. So when you combine them, it comes to 64% complete.
Okay. And they say April next year?
Yes.
2023.
Yes. At 2023?
Yep.
No.
Eric, this road is not going to be complete in April next year. It will not be.
Early 2022. The Nairobi Expressway is 64% complete and is expected to be completed in early 2022.
So early 2022, CT, could be 2023.
And the dates there are March, the president comes to cut the ribbon.
The president...
And drive on the road from airport
to ABC Place.
To ABC Place and goes back home to State House in 20 minutes.
At peak hour.
The president will not tell the difference. It always takes him 15 minutes from the airport to the State House.
I mean, what
but we're saying on this expressway, he should actually do it in normal traffic.
He should board a matatu.
Yeah, he should do
Incognito.
it, for the people and say, here we are, let's see actually how this thing works. That's what he should do. Otherwise,
but he likes driving around the city. Eh?
So he should do it.
He should do that. Just drive around, all right?
He did it when they were sorting out the
Do your
stadium.
G-Wagon. There's a time when he did that.
He has.
Yeah. Enter your G-Wagon, go to the airport. Leave the airport.
That's how you should test if the
Pay.
expressway then is working.
Yeah.
That's how you should
And
test.
what makes you think he hasn't done that already?
Well,
the expressway is not finished.
It's not finished. Or in terms of, does he know whether it takes
He
very
knows.
long to...
He knows.
Yeah,
he knows
does that.
And also, by the time the CS is busy inspecting a road that is being built, okay?
It's not the first time.
And there are serious optics, and you even hear the mention of...
State House Chief of Staff was also
yes, he's also there,
yes.
and another dignitaries head of this and head of the other and head of the other thing also.
Window dressing.
Yes. No.
It means that they're preparing the ground for...
They are trying to show you that they're working. Okay? March,
Or maybe
April,
the president
May,
had done a weekend trip like
Yes.
this. And where? You guys?
What
What did I see?
I thought you said this thing was going to be finished by this. So I am saying, let me repeat it. That road will not be finished in April next year, even June. This road, it won't be.
City.
Eric, I am on this road almost the full length of it at least twice a week.
Yes.
At least, huh?
Full from airport to
because we're in the airport
ABC.
area to ABC.
Yes.
My friend, that ABC stretch, that thing has just begun, Chief. Look, inconvenience is at its peak. The unfortunate residents of that particular area, after, as I told you, after Njugunas, hey man, you go to Saret, turn around, do another U-turn, come in, go to Westlands Primary.
That hole.
By the way.
The crater
That's what we were
is
talking
still
about.
there. Yes.
Then from next week, by the way, residents of Mombasa Road, upper Mombasa Road, will have no water because they're going to shut it down
Yes.
For this.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Eric, you see that's another tick. Have we shut down the water?
It will move to 65%.
65%. Now they've shut down the water. That manhole, the real full one, that one brought to 64 from 63. Have you dug the manhole? Yes. Has it been covered? No. Tick. Okay. Now. Have we suspended water supply? No, wait. Which area? From next week. Oh,
Monday.
We've done it Monday. Tick. We're now at 65. You wait and see.
Have we flooded a school with sewage?
Tick. How can we at 66? We haven't got this. We're the ones who are missing this arithmetic. We've got it. You know, if you live along that road on Oyakiri, before, if you lived in one of those duplexes, you could actually see the road and see the people. Right now, when there's like a hill of earth staring at you. And when I say a hill, it's a hill.
It's a hill.
Even pedestrians have issues. Okay?
In fact, this entire project, the person who's suffering the most is a pedestrian. The most. The one who has been considered the least is a pedestrian. We keep just talking about the basics. Standard Group Center.
Okay.
Anybody who is coming via matatu to work in the Standard Group Center, or anybody along these routes, and they're coming from the Syokimau side, where do they alight? How do they cross the road?
You alight at General Motors, and then you find your way through the jungle that is cement and
if you walk across,
and then if you're lucky, you get off on the other side.
If you are coming from town and you walk across to the other side, how do you cross?
Same thing. Now, if you are at the Standard Group Center and you're trying to get a public service vehicle, right, you might get outside the gate and get one. But if you are now coming from the other side, it's not going to happen. There was a petition at some time to have a bridge crossing over.
Of course.
From this side to this side. That thing was swallowed.
The Mabatis have been erected in such a way that even if there's no way someone is going to be able to navigate, because it's been blocked off
but it's
properly by
just as well, Eric, because when it rains, it's a man-made lake. That thing in the middle, okay?
It's crazy, yeah?
And if it is a man-made lake, it's a man-made mud pit. How do you even walk across? And by the way, it isn't clear walking. You descend. And slowly, because it's deep. Then you walk across it. Then it's
a hike.
Hey, my friend. The pedestrian, no, actually, guys, 67%.
Pedestrians are the least considered.
Yes. 67.
Least considered. Yes. At the Westlands bus stop, I've told you many times.
Which bus stop?
Which bus stop?
The former Westlands bus stop. The one that was built by Mwai Kibaki.
Yes, thank you.
Now there's nothing, eh?
Yes.
On either side at ABC, not ABC, at the
Delta
mall.
Plaza.
At the mall and the Delta Plaza. And then there's some water that I don't know where it's coming from. Every day.
Yes, it's coming from.
Sewage. Now, you can imagine people who are trying to cross over from either side of the road. Matatus have used part of the road as their bus stop now.
Yes. Permanently.
Then these guys have now dug a crater at Pioga Mapinto Junction.
Yes. But you know what is interesting? You would have assumed that road. Well, there were two passages. If you want to go into Westlands, into Sarit, or you want to come out of it. Now, there is, again, a man-made passage where if you now want to go towards ABC Place, you don't go to the former roundabout place. No. You just crisscross. Everybody just finds their way along.
Find your way.
Yes. So it's two-way in the sense that vehicles which are supposed to be going to town crisscross with vehicles that are going away from town.
Yep.
It's madness.
Yep. The contractor is on site.
Of course he's on site.
They are doing their work. You, with all this inconvenience, find your way, my friend. Find your way. Our friend Karaoke from Lavington is on the line. Karaoke.
Good morning, awesome trio.
We were about to send an SOS, brother. The last time you spoke to us, you were telling us about some natural remedies for boosting immunity.
Yes.
I wondered, kwani zilifiatuka?
I mean, maybe the boost went bust.
No. We thank God. Some of us have not been sick since COVID came. So
Very good.
You're still taking the baobab?
Well, baobab and black seed oil.
Okay.
Yes. So we can have a conversation another day. But you already opened a book of lamentations about the expressway. and the lamentations that you're talking about is about now. Ongoing construction and some of the pains that pedestrians and motorists will likely be subjected to, if not already being subjected to.
Yep.
I spoke to, so I have a friend who is a Kenyan, but he's a German-trained architect. And some months ago, we were talking about the trends in construction globally and how the advanced economies are actually doing away with overpasses, which is what we have as an expressway. And one of the reasons why countries are moving away from, the overpasses is because they kind of inflict or they lead to some sort of rot, especially if it's not well managed. I'm sure you're familiar with Taj Mahal, the area in Embakasi, Taj Mahal, where there's, and you've seen the shanties under that outer ring. It's a sort of a small overpass.
Yeah.
And one of the concerns he had was that the problem with the overpass is that it's going to lead to the rot of structures and the value of properties that straddle on either side of the overpass. You can think about even Kempinski. What happens to Kempinski after the overpass? What is the government doing to ensure that shanties don't emerge underneath the overpass? I've seen some people creatively come up with designs of how the area can be landscaped.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the Ministry of Transport and James Macharia, I don't know what plans they have for the overpass, but those are real fears that people have. I personally, as a motorist in Nairobi, I would fear for any motorist who is stalling, assuming the overpass is done. You imagine that at Chiromo, your car stalls in the middle of the night, 9, 10 p.m.
Up there or down here?
Down.
Up on the viaduct or down on the old road?
Beneath. Yeah, beneath, because the fear that I have is that we'll have
more street families occupying those areas under there. Proper
yes,
shelter.
So I don't know whether the government is... those are real fears, and there should be conversations around that.
That's true, actually. When we spoke with the Housing and Urban Development PS, Charles Hinga, he expressed optimism that actually Namata would be able to, and Kenha would be able to use that space under there for either light rail or BRT lanes.
Or create cycling paths.
And create cycling paths as well, yes.
Part of sustainability, sustainable living in cities,
Yeah, but now you're talking about the Kenya government. Those are real fears, indeed. Those are real fears.
Yeah, so I fear for... I hope you guys at Standard Group on Mombasa Road will not be much affected.
Oh, it's already done, my friend.
Will not be much affected.
It's already finished.
You're
affected.
We are living in the moment, my brother.
I've not been to that side for a while.
You've missed nothing.
I avoid Mombasa Road like the plague. I don't know whether traffic has resumed normally.
Well, if normal means some traffic jams that are a sight to behold, yes. But, there are certain basic standards that are supposed to be upheld when you're putting up a structure such as this expressway. So if, for instance, even some of the basic amenities that are supposed to accompany the building of a road, lighting, signage and all that, those are wanting. All the other details that you're talking about arise from an understanding that when such things are put up, there's a clear understanding of what also ought to accompany it. You traverse the full length of the expressway and tell me, apart from just the putting up of the expressway, what else is being adhered to?
Kariuki wouldn't tell you he hasn't. Kariuki, what you should do is get out and live that experience. Just at least once, in solidarity with your brothers and sisters, countrymen and women.
Call it a nature drive.
Yeah. I will plan maybe very early in the morning.
Or on a Sunday, just, after church, that is, of course, if you go to church.
Yeah.
It is important that, before church, because so that you can have something to pray about.
I will be, I'm traveling soon, so I'll be going to the airport next week.
Good.
So maybe that will be my first experience.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kariuki.
Yeah, but great chatting, you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too.
Yes.
7:30. Let's take a break, see how the roads are looking like this morning. That whole stretch. Today was the day that they were supposed to open some sections.
Yes.
In fact, open up that notice on Ken Hart Twitter. Oh, this time we'll open that. Yes, I don't know, the section between Jake Mlolongo and JKIA will be open. It was today. If you're on that road, can you tell us, is it open? Kenya's biggest conversation, 7:30. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. 24/7, around the world, non-stop. This is Spice FM.
Forgiveness is always conditional. Even before God, there's nothing like unconditional forgiveness.
Government doesn't pay you pension until you retire. In fact, they have no money for you. The day you retire, they look for it.
This country is punishing many young people. These young people are more susceptible to be deceived, to be taken advantage of, and they're more susceptible to be bought off.
Let us also talk about where we want our country to go. You know, we are a population of very young people.
We're in a state of capture. The judiciary is under duress. Parliament is in the pocket of the executive. You don't sit and wait for the regime to topple itself. It will never do so.
By the way, let me tell you, these guys are so persuasive. I'm telling you, they can persuade you to sell your grandmother. I'm telling you, they can sell sand in the desert.
Say, has anybody on this program said to you as a guest, saying, "Oh, shut up, we don't want to be told what to do"? Has you ever that kind of? Has anybody been
I will not listen.
Bit of advice, because you're working on the premise that we should all pay heed to these proverbs. It's a very suspect notion.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Still looking at cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning at 17 degrees, highs of 27 and lows of 15. Nakuru sunny at 15, highs of 27 and lows of 14. Nyeri town light rain at 15, highs of 24. And in Eldoret, mostly cloudy conditions at 15. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 13. In Mombasa this morning, some rain in some parts, cloudy conditions for most of the day at 25, highs of 29 and lows of 24. Malindi, light rain at 26, highs of 29. We'll see lows of 24. Kisumu's partly sunny at 21, highs of 30 and lows of 20. And we have mostly sunny conditions at 21 in Kakamega, highs of 29 and lows of 16. Kampala, cloudy conditions at 22, highs of 28 and lows of 19. We're in Dar es Salaam. It's sunny at 25, we'll see highs of 30 and lows of 23. At 13, Johannesburg is mostly sunny, we'll see highs of 23. Lagos, clear conditions at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 24. And mostly clear in Kinshasa at 25. The low will be 24 with highs of 32.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
So maybe the traffic situation will be much better today. We're supposed to see that JKIA Mlolongo stretch opened as of today and fully opened. A partial opening between Westlands at the roundabout and James Gishuru. In a couple of weeks, we should see that Haile Selassie University of Nairobi roundabout open, and the elevated sections should be completed in good time. Now, that means that traffic on Mombasa Road today should be looking a lot better, but all I see is red. Inbound traffic, this is from the Weybridge, going just past the airport. We still have quite a lot of traffic there. Let's look at other parts not affected by the expressway. The Thika Superhighway, there's traffic all the way past the drive-in. And there's traffic coming off North Airport Road, coming off of Outer Ring. Continues to be a thing this morning. Coming off of Kiambu Road is hot and heavy, thumping with traffic as you get to the Muthui Square. We're also looking at traffic on Limuru Road today, more than what we've seen in a while. Not quite sure what is causing that. Let's look at Thika Road again. And there was an accident this morning that's looking fatal. Unfortunately, between a large vehicle and a smaller one. Fatal accident there, but police are on site to take care of that. Let us know what else is happening in your neck of the woods. The bypasses are your what? They're your friends. Use them this morning. They'll give you a good time. SpiceFMKE on Twitter. Text 40127.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice.
This was issued about 2 weeks ago.
This was issued on the traffic updates as at the 27th of September.
A few days ago. Okay.
A few days ago is the updated one, right?
Yes.
And they told us that as of today, the 30th of September, that the JKIA Mlolongo stretch will be completely opened. At 4 a.m. today, it was not.
What does that mean?
Okay, so there's the middle section that had initially been closed completely.
Where the road was.
Okay. Right? So it'd been made wider, and so nobody was using that. There were certain parts of it that were open here and there, but then you had to dip and then you would get back and had to use the service lanes.
All right.
So now they're saying that entire area, that entire stretch will be completely opened and open for use from today. It wasn't as about 4 o'clock this morning. Maybe later on, because we're still on the 30th.
When does the day start? I mean, maybe it starts at 9.
Exactly. Don't worry about it. So maybe.
Who says the
later
day
on.
starts at midnight?
Just the clock, but right. It's possible that
Midnight. Midnight is night.
Night is night.
Okay. Now the sun is up. Maybe now it's open.
All that is jana. Leo started when the sun came up.
Yep.
So maybe the people who are on the road this morning at that section between Mlolongo coming towards JKIA or leaving JKIA going down towards Mlolongo, is that section open? You can let us know.
Let us know if it's actually
SpiceFM
open,
on
right.
Twitter. Let us know if it's open. You can even call in and tell us how the experience on the road this morning, because the whole idea is to ease traffic congestion from this morning.
Exactly.
Also, that section from Westlands to James Gishuru should also be open.
So if we're going by the night phenomenon, then
Westlands
it's possible
to
that
James
now
Gishuru.
has happened. Westlands roundabout, the roundabout.
At the mall.
Yes.
To James Gishuru.
Or what was the roundabout to James Gishuru then should be open
Should
today.
be opened.
Because of that whole mess, right?
And when you look at that map, just look at it.
It's red.
Does it indicate anything that looks open there? In fact, there is the Westlands roundabout right there. That stretch there with the broken red line, very, very red, is indicative of the fact that there is serious traffic outbound towards ABC Place and inbound
Towards the city. Yeah.
And you can see where the hole is. You see that road there, the junction of Pioga Mapinto? They've put a matatu there on the map. See that red? It's because there's a crater in the middle of the road. And have they put any road signs to show you that there's a crater in the middle? No. What they've done is they've put boulders. So last night, as I was driving along there's a matatu that's now coming from Westlands. It's trying to access, just like you're saying, CT, to cross over to the other side of the road so that it heads towards Kangemi. And the guys who are working on the crater are screaming at the matatu guy, wewe unaenda wapi wewe? Wewe utaingia kwa shimo? That's a road sign.
That's your diversion.
That's your
your
signage.
sign. That's your signage. Shouting.
Audio.
Yes.
Audio signage.
Utaingia kwa shimo? That is how it's meant to be.
You know, it is not odd, or well, in the peculiar sense of the word odd, when something bizarre and untoward becomes normal. The inconveniences that Kenyans undergo whenever a major project is being undertaken has been considered, we've normalized it.
Yep.
It is good that we find humor in it, but it is not good to talk about it as though it is normal.
As though we should accept it.
Your people, look, your people should never have to survive development. It's not the way it should be.
No.
That we got to this stage and we had to get through blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. You don't survive development. You thrive through it. That is the way it ought to be. And everything should be done to make sure that even as we're going through these rough patches and these bumps, that it is made livable. That's what is supposed to happen. It's not, we're getting the job done, you're going to suffer.
Yeah,
so
chill.
just relax.
Don't worry.
We're doing this for your benefit. No.
You see what you're saying?
Be.
What you're saying. The State House Chief of Staff, Nzioka Waita, tweeted yesterday. He was among those who accompanied the CS for transport onto the expressway. And then he was about, let me just educate you guys on what's happening. This is a thread. When you're commuting in Nairobi and gnashing your teeth whilst you navigate past the road construction work happening across various parts of the city, have comfort that there is some method to the madness. Let's talk a bit about the Nairobi Traffic Master Plan. Then he goes on to start explaining. First, the idea is to complete roads in the metropolitan zones that will serve to distribute traffic before it enters the capital city. That is, for example, a road from Emali to Ngong, a road from Konza through Kimutwa, Kangundo to Donyosabuk, taking through that way towards Ngong Road, a road between Suswa and Ngong, a road between Thika, Gatimayu and Kinale. So that is like the outermost ring
circuit
before you get to Nairobi. The second phase was to complete the Nairobi Circular, which comprises the 4 bypasses: the Eastern Bypass, JKIA to Ruiru; Northern Bypass, Ruiru to Ruaka; Western Bypass, Ruaka to Gitaru; Southern Bypass, Gitaru to South Sea, and that's here at Ole Sereni. Save for the expansion of the Eastern Bypass from single to dual carriageway, the rest are done. Yeah. They are not. The Western Bypass from Ruaka to Gitaru is hell on earth for the people who live around there. We talked about it yesterday. This Eastern Bypass, JKIA to Ruiru, single lane, who designed it? I'm sure it was it was a dual carriageway.
On paper?
On paper. How can all the others in that ring be dual carriageway and then this one is not?
Single.
And now we shall have a project to expand it. Okay, he continues. The third phase is the completion of various Nairobi City link roads. Ring Road Kilimani, we have seen that. Ring Road Westlands, we have seen that. That should go via Parklands. Past Limuru Road all the way to Thika Road. That's the one that's stuck at Deep Sea Slum. Ring Road Westlands, okay? And the section between Limuru Road and Thika Road, no existe pas. Say that in...
N'existe pas.
There you go. The expansion of Ngong Road from the National Library to Karen, has that happened? It's in Ngong Road, the one that's expanded.
The 15-year road.
Yeah, the one that's expanded very nicely.
Road.
Yeah, Ngong Road.
You know, when it's stated thus, you actually imagine there's this new road I haven't seen. It's the
same
road.
It's the same
one that
That's what it's called.
Yes, from National Library all the way to Karen,
Ngong
expand it, dual carriageway, blah, blah, blah. Forget the fact that you've seen after the bypass going towards Karen, there is no road being done. Just ignore. There's a road. There's a method to the madness. James Gishuru, Red Hill, dual carriageway. That's done. Expansion of Outer Ring Road from North Airport to Babadogo Road. That was done. And then they had to come back and issue a second contract to create the exit from Outer Ring Road to Thika Road, the interchange. Initially, entire road started from North Airport Road,
Straight.
expanded Outer Ring Road into a dual carriageway, and then went into a single bridge joining Thika Road at GSU headquarters. Then somebody sat back and, oh, wait
a minute.
Maybe what we can do, sasa vile tutafanya, let's give out another contractor so we can create an interchange. Interchange now complete, so that road complete. Expansion of sections of Langata Road from Bomas to Dagoretti. Have you seen that? Langata Road from Bomas to Dagoretti?
You know, when it's mentioned that way, you think it's a new road. It isn't really a new road, is it?
Expansion.
Yeah.
Have you seen the expansion? What's going on?
Put it this way.
Bomas to Dagoretti.
Is it the same thing that has been there for the longest time?
Construction of the new Ngong Road between Kibra and Langata. That one you've seen.
That one I've seen. And that one has been incomplete for, you know how long?
There's a section there that
just hasn't moved.
Upper Hill and Lower Hill Road expansion together with a new link road from Kasneb to Mbagathi Road. That is done. Mbagathi, beautiful road to Kasneb.
Yes.
And then the outer Upper Hill Road towards Bunyala. Done. The final phase is the recovery of grabbed roads, repair and construction of inner city roads in various estates across Nairobi by collaboration between NMS, Kura, and County Government of Nairobi. Cumulatively, all these roads, together with attendant pedestrian walkways, will serve to ease Nairobi's congestion in the near term as the city starts to gear itself up for mass transit solutions like commuter rail and bus rapid transport. GOK delivers. Hashtag GOK delivers. Hashtag live the dream. Hashtag this is Kenya. Hashtag we are continuing.
I like this is Kenya.
Hashtag this is mine. Hashtag all the others are mine.
Hashtag stop the nonsense.
Oh, no. That is attributed to the Chief of Staff.
Yes.
I like that explanation because it actually gives you...
And head of Presidential Delivery Unit.
Yes. It gives you a clear indication of what has been planned. So if you've traversed those thoroughfares, you can see. You can see.
Yeah.
Like this one that off Mbagathi into a dip and then you come into Upper Hill.
Yes.
It's a nice road.
It's a beautiful one.
And many people don't know it. So there's never traffic on that road. And then again from there, you can now traverse it and just enter Mbagathi. Nice road. I've used it many times myself, so I know it. But the point is, it is not that these are not good plans. You see, there's something about the movement of vehicles in this city, in this fair city. Our roads are supposed to cater for traffic not for a week or a month, it's for several years.
Taking into consideration an increase in population.
Yes. And also taking into consideration a complete absence of public transportation. So anybody who can afford to have their own means of transport will have it. These roads that we've expanded and built are already crowded.
The new ones?
They are.
Like which one?
Just take, for instance, the end of the month. Just take a rough survey of the end of the month. Like now, and look at the traffic that you will see at the oddest of times. You know, I don't understand what it is. Well, I'm on the road, so I can ask the same question myself. But
why are all these people on the road at the same time?
Where are they going? But usually they're going in the opposite direction or to where I am going, and there's a queue. What am I saying? I am saying that in the next, not 10 years, in the next 3 years, we will have overburdened these roads. That's what I'm trying to say. See, I am not a city planner, but the little that I know about planning, the reason why these satellite towns exist, the reason why the talk of metropolis exists is precisely that.
Yep.
So that everything that you do in the city of Nairobi, you can do there as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can live, you can work there. Your children can go to school. They can be alive outside the city.
Indeed.
And this expressway is precisely meant
to facilitate that.
Yes, so that if you are on your way to some other part of the country, the western part, you don't have to suffer going through the middle of town.
Yep.
Those bypasses, they're beautiful, by the way, once you understand them. And they help. Problem, again, the suffering that we undergo before those things are completed. The damage that this Mombasa road does to cars that ply it on a daily basis.
Yep.
Ask anybody who drives on this road every day. Your car squeaks a lot more than it squeaked before they started building this road.
Yep. And then also, going with this should be talk about dealing with the inner roads. And that's where the Kenya Urban Roads Authority comes in. So, for instance, if we're talking about the satellite towns of Nairobi, let's just start from Syokimau, okay? Are there facilities? Has Syokimau been serviced to become a dormitory for Nairobi? Zero service.
No.
Zero service. The leaders of Syokimau residents were here. They told us no public facility in terms of a hospital.
None.
Only one public school. Zero road network.
Sewage.
Zero sewer system. Zero water supply. As in, there's no plan.
There's nothing.
Go to Kitengela. Same
thing. Residents of Kitengela contributed 40 million shillings to have their own sewage system set up. You have industries, for example, that are operating in Syokimau who have their sewage system in Kitengela.
Yep.
In Kitengela. And that's where your water...
They connect to EPZ sewer line. That's the only sewer line in Mavoko. The EPZ sewer line. Okay? Are there roads being constructed? Is there proper planning that's, for example, taking place to ensure that Kitengela can accommodate the number of people who are moving towards Kitengela? Kitengela is usually a nightmare every day. In fact, weekends, don't even bother trying to go to Kitengela if you don't have to.
Forget it. And these are the closet towns, these are the closet areas of Nairobi that people then would look forward to and say, I live in Kitengela, I live in Athi River, I work in Nairobi. Expressway takes me to the city in half an hour, for example. But then I come back to the residential nightmare where I don't have the facilities. That's why you build. That's why you build dormitory towns. That's why you set up dormitory facilities. You set it up knowing that the city will not be able to contain everybody. So outside Kiambu, Kitengela, Athi River, Syokimau, Ruiru, all of these areas then should be facilitated for the people who will not be able to live in the city because of cost or convenience, and make it habitable for them. It's ridiculous that people have to contribute their own money to set up a sewage system, something that the city should be planning for.
What is tragic in all these stories is that if you look at the planning, all these things are planned for. Actual planning. Planners know they know what to put on paper and what should be done.
I'm not sure we have a plan for Kitengela.
I am certain that we have a plan for the expansion of Nairobi.
I think we can find a plan that shows the subdivision of tracts of land in Kitengela, but in terms of
an actual master plan,
for Aye. And Mavoko. Well, there could be one. I'd be shocked.
No. I think it's fair to cast aspersions because as you are talking, I am thinking that when you have that large number of people living in a particular area, basic planning requires that for this number of households, you have a primary school, nursery schools, hospitals, blah, 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 all that.
Recreation
it's
facility.
Basic. That's what I'm saying in terms of planning.
Yeah.
But that it doesn't exist tells you that if the plan was there, completely ignored.
Yep. And pieces of land that were supposed to be now for those recreational facilities, for the public facilities, sold as well.
You remember once upon a time when the former Prime Minister was Minister for Roads, Housing, etc.,
Yeah.
and they started demolishing houses that had been built on road reserves. The hue and cry could be heard in Canada. Okay? But they were unrelenting. Now, whatever was done was not long after that undone again. Because the very thing that you were hoping would not get done, buildings being put up without proper authentication. Permission given, but the supervision that is supposed to precede it or even to superintend it never really takes place. How do you have such a large area with so many people and basic amenities are absent? How? How do you even explain it?
How do you just live? And so these are county governments. So we are talking about the county government of Machakos, county government of Kajiado.
Yes.
Okay? And I want to have a conversation actually now, just point out, sometimes let's take responsibility as well. So let's just speak, because they were here, the leaders of Syokimau, and they told us about what they've gone through. Residents of Syokimau, and you're listening to me this morning. So let's just take you back to 2017, okay? Apart from looking at Kumera and NASA and factoring in whether you want to support Raila Odinga or whether you support, Dr. Ekura Okoh or Uhuru Kenyatta, did you actually interrogate the candidates who wanted to be your MCA? Because that's the person who's in charge of that road. That's the person who's in charge of making sure that there's a health facility in Syokimau. That's a person who's in charge of making sure that there is at least a nursery school, a public kindergarten in Syokimau. If many of you are listening today and you don't even know the name of your MCA, or you went to vote and you were just voting, 6-piece, you have not interrogated, this is a time to take stock and start thinking about the next election. Who wants to be MCA for the ward? This is a person who will represent you in the county assembly of Machakos. If you send them to Machakos, they should be able to know how to advocate so that you can get these facilities and these services. It will not be Uhuru. It will not be Ruto. It will not be Raila. It'll start with the MCA. If we don't think about that, if we don't start localizing, you talk about politics is local. Development is also local. If we don't start localizing, who's your MCA in Kitengela? Who's your MCA in Syokimau? Who's your MCA wherever you are? Does that person understand the job of sitting in the county assembly? Do they understand the mandate of a county government? If you send to the, you can fill in the blank, to the county assembly for the next 5 years, shauri yenu.
We're having the same conversation.
Yeah.
Having the same headache, same nightmare, same tears, without getting to understand the nitty-gritty of who actually calls the shots.
But of significance, all these things that we talk about, government budgets, whether it is county governments or national governments, monies are allocated for these services. You may not know that, but they are.
You know, there's something called a road maintenance.
Levy.
Right? Road maintenance.
Maintaining a road.
Maintaining a road,
Or
right?
the process of maintaining a road.
No. There's a budget allocated
Yes.
to that.
Yeah.
For each county, every budget cycle.
Yes.
Now, the question that you're going to ask, for example, in some of these dormitory towns where the road network doesn't even exist, you start to ask questions then. If the road network doesn't exist and people have to ply their way and contribute,
Yep.
where does this budgetary allocation go?
Bumps.
Okay.
You know the speed bumps?
And bringing a grader. No,
And
you'll
bring a
find,
grader.
you'll see a grader that comes,
Grader
you
is the
know,
residents who are contributing.
for the grader.
Yes.
I think that they're doing you a favor.
Yes, that's
that's
at
it.
least the grader exists.
Yeah.
The residents don't buy the grader.
And the MCA will be there to cheer you on.
So they lease the grader.
MCA is even
And
contributing
also
the 1,000
contribute.
with you.
Of course.
Yes.
That's leadership.
Wow.
That's the kind of person that you elected. They don't even understand their job. So it'll be... So everybody talks about, you know, when you get off Mombasa Road, you take this dusty road, then you get to a certain part, you'll find a kiosk, you take that dusty road to the left, then you'll see a very big water tank somewhere. That's a guy who has
That's your
dug up a
landmark.
borehole.
Yeah.
It's a guy who has sunk a borehole and is supplying water to the residents. What madness are we talking about? And you pay levies and taxes to the county government of...
Yes.
Kenya bana sangine. You know, that's a time when Mwai Kibaki would get worked up at a public meeting and say, "Huyo ni mtu bora kabisa."
Yes.
Binadamu ya mavi ya kuku.
Yes. Chicken droppings immediately.
Immediately.
Yes. I mean, he would think of how can I describe this person in public?
What's the lowest form?
Yes, without necessarily
Without
offending
insulting them.
people's sensibilities. And looks at it and says, "Okay, I've got it." Chicken droppings. But think about it, huh? If one wants to engage in the national pastime of complaining, then complain away. But if you want to actually see changes, actually, that particular ball is in your court.
Yep.
You have the time, you have the ability, and you have the means.
It's completely in our hands. Samakula Mukibi says, that section between Mlolongo and JKA open today. Are you guys joking? It's not even built. What? We want to know because Ken had announced that today is when that section, today, September 30th, 2021, the section between JKIA and Mlolongo will be open
today.
In 6 months' time. The stadium
I'll tell you tomorrow.
will be complete. Are you on the road this morning? Is that section open? The other section is between ABC Place and the mall in Westlands. Is that section opened?
In April 2022,
the Nairobi Expressway
will be complete.
Joachim Kachambo says Westlands Link Road is a parking lane. Unusual traffic stretching from...
Sheesh.
Right.
This is the link road. So you can imagine then what is happening on Wayakiwe that is supposed to be open today. This is the link road. This is the escape. So people are not using Wayakiwe. Ask yourself why. The complete road today.
Which one is this? Which road is this? Is it the Westlands Ring Road?
No, Link Road. Is
Which
the
one?
Red Hill Link Road.
That's the Red Hill one.
Link Road, yes.
You know, one lauds the government for this very impressive road network that has been built throughout the country. But surely, at what cost? And I'm talking about human suffering. And I'm talking about what people have to put up with. Is it really necessary?
You do not survive development. You don't survive development. You should not.
Kenya's biggest conversation, it continues. In the next hour, let's talk about the national vaccination drive. Have you been vaccinated? Have you received both the 2 doses, if it's AstraZeneca, or the single shot of Johnson & Johnson? We'll be speaking to the experts. Good morning, it's 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire. Dennis Aseto. Delegates have started to arrive at the Bomas of Kenya for the Kanu National Delegates Conference. Today's meeting, according to party officials, will be important as Kanu prepares itself for the upcoming 2022 general elections. It is expected that the delegates will reiterate their position and announce Kanu chairman Gideon Moi as their preferred presidential candidate. Moi has maintained that Kanu leaders will provide the right direction even as part of the One Kenya Alliance. The ODM party has extended its free membership registration for 3 months ahead of the 2022 general elections. The exercise that kicked off on July 1st was to expire today. The decision to extend the 100 shillings waiver for a further 3 months period was reached during the party's committee held in Nairobi. Isaac Githua has been sworn in as a nominated senator to represent the youth. Githua replaces Victor Prengay, who died in a road accident on August 16th. The new legislator was sworn in a brief ceremony in the Senate chambers. The DCI and the DPP have been urged to work together in the fight against corruption. Chairman of the Imams in Rift Valley, Abubakar Bini, said the differences between these key institutions has slowed the desired results in the fight against graft.
Walianza kazi vizuri kwa kasi inayostahiki, lakini imekuwa ni kama moto wa kifuvu, unawaka mara moja na kuzima. Ugomvi wao imepelekea Wanjiku akose haki yake. Ukweli ni kwa kuwa wafisadi waliingia tumbo joto kwa kazi iliyoanzwa na hawa wawili 2018-2019. Walipoanza kukorogana, kusukumana, imewapa nafasi wafisadi wapumue.
Bini also advised DCI boss George Kinoti and DPP Nurdin Haji to resign if they are unable to cooperate in dealing with criminals.
Kwa kuwa katiba inawalinda, rais hawezi kuwafuta kazi. Tungeliwaomba wa resign, mheshimiwa rais apate nafasi ya kuchagua wengine wawili katika ofisi kubwa hizi ili waendelee kufanya kazi wao mahala waliposhindwa.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered the Ministry of Energy to immediately institute changes as recommended by a task force formed to reduce the cost of energy. In a statement, the head of state welcomed recommendations of a task force formed in March 2021 to establish a path towards the reduction of the cost of electricity by over 33% within 4 months. The president directed the Energy Cabinet Secretary Charles Keter to immediately secure the implementation of the recommendation of the Presidential Task Force on Review of Power Purchase. Now, squatters living in Chepchonyi complex in Trans Nzoia County have asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to provide them with permanent accommodation before retiring. Many of these squatters, including women and the elderly, have said they are going through hardships and that they have no legacy to pass to their children.
Tupewe shamba. Hiyo ni shamba ambaye ni ya Wanakenya. Kwa nini sasa tunaambiwa tuende? Na nani mwingine ataishi hapo? Na nani mwingine atatoka?
Sai wengine wako nje, wengine hata anaishi mamiti tu. Kitu ile ya ukweli, hatuna manyumba sai. Sijui sisi ni Wakenya ndio tumeumia namna hii na bomoa manyumba.
Tunasikia wanasema, "Iko kotini." Hii kotini na sisi si Wanakenya. Watoe hiyo maneno kotini. Hiyo ni udongo. Tunaomba president wetu hiyo shamba ya Chepchoina tupewe ili tukule kama Wanakenya.
The chairperson of the Kiboroa Headquarters Alliance, Ainea Masinde, has said that according to the constitution, every Kenyan has the right to live anywhere in the country and called on the Investigation Department, DCI and NCIC to investigate people who utter hate speech as the nation heads for the general elections.
Kila mtu Mkenya ataishi mahali pake miaka yote vile Mungu alipenda. Na wataishi kwa kupendana wote. Hakuna mtu atapakua mwingine. Serikali iko na Mungu wako. Tuendelee kufanya kazi kuchuma mali. Hatutaki uchochezi wowote kutoka mahali popote. Hata huyu atatoka huku, huyu akwende huku. Watu waishi kwa amani, tupendane katika hizi mipaka. Siasa za mipaka ondoka.
To sports, and Cristiano Ronaldo scored an injury time win as Manchester United came from behind to beat Villarreal in an action-packed Champions League Group F contest, the repeat of last season's Europa League final, which the Spanish side won on penalties. Looked to be heading for a draw after another disappointing United performance, but summer signing Ronaldo stroked home from Jesse Lingard's layoff to spark jubilant scenes at Old Trafford. However, visiting manager Unai Emery will be left wondering how his side did not come away with all the 3 points. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right, so we're looking at that crazy situation coming out of Westlands this morning. Quite a number of people using the Red Hill Link Road out of Westlands. Waiakiwe is an absolute mess as well. Inbound and outbound is what we're looking at. We're also looking at spillover traffic from Limuru Road. Not a pretty situation this morning, quite messy. So stuck in that, at least for now. Also, on Langata Road, we see quite a lot of traffic at the nexus then of Langata Road and the Southern Bypass. That is also a mess this morning as well. We're looking at traffic coming off of Manyanja Road. If we're looking at the eastern part of the city, actually the northern part now, Donholm then going out towards Outering. Kariobangi up in that direction and then eventually connecting with the Thika Superhighway. That is jam-packed as well and traffic is spilling over to the drive-in. Kiambu Road, very, very full as well. All right, so it looks like traffic mania this morning everywhere you look. Let's see what it looks like in a short while. But be careful as you traverse the roads this morning. Let us know if you're stuck anywhere and hopefully we can keep it moving. SpiceFM KE on Twitter, text 40127. Talking a bit.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 8. Good morning and welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. This morning, let's begin the hour with the day's proverb. C.T. Muga.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold. Ukiavulia yaoge. Okay.
You know, anyone who's never experienced taking a bath in a river may find this a bit alien. Because if you remember, Ndu first talked about, well, you know, when you enter a bathtub. This isn't bathtub arena.
You have to specify. You said water, man.
Yes. But even if you think of a bathtub, the truth of the matter is the moment you emerge from the water in whatever, somehow there'll be that cold sensation.
Indeed.
Yes. But as children, it's something you enjoyed.
Yep.
Sitting there shivering.
Yes.
If you've committed to something, see it through.
Please.
See it through. Don't complain about it.
No.
Okay. We have committed to many things and want to welcome our guests now in the show. We have a number of guests on in the studio and joining us via video link. Let's start with the one in the studio, and this is Dr. Willis Ahwale, the chairman of the COVID Vaccine Deployment Task Force. Good to have you again in the show, Doc.
Yeah, good morning and good morning, Kenyans. I'm happy to be back.
And we want to say a very good morning as well to those who are joining us now on KTN Home for the next 1 hour. We want to have a conversation about the national vaccination campaign for COVID-19. Kuwa shujaa, pata chanjo, tufungue nchi. That's the theme, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the campaign that you're running.
Yeah.
Before I introduce the other guests, maybe you can just tell us about why this particular line, pata chanjo, tufungue nchi.
Yeah, as you know, the aim of our vaccination program is to vaccinate as many Kenyans as quickly as possible so that we start looking at the aspects of life and in particular the economy that has suffered a lot under this pandemic. We strongly believe that the more people we have vaccinated, the more the impact of the pandemic will be, and therefore the possibility that we open our economy. This pandemic has almost enslaved us because of the impact it has had on our economy. So we looked back at the freedom fighters who came out and really said we must get freedom to do what we want. So by getting vaccinated, we are really doing what...
We are securing our freedom.
Yes.
And the program is still on course that we want to have 10 million vaccinated by December?
Yes, and I want to really clarify that because people should not be confused by targets. Our target is to vaccinate the entire adult population before the end of next year. Then we have another target of this year, which is 10 million. Okay. And for us to be sure we are on course, given that in the last few weeks we've now got enough doses, 6.5 million doses are already in this country. We strongly therefore believe that we could hit the 5.8 million on Mashujaa Day.
Okay.
Yes.
So 5.8 million people to be vaccinated by the 20th of October. In the next 20 days?
In the next 20 days, vaccines administered.
Okay. And where are we right now?
We are at, this morning I've seen we are very close to 3.8. We are 3.77.
Okay.
Can we ask then the structure you've put in place to ensure that you get as close as possible to this target or to even surpass it?
Yeah, we are going to use three main strategies, and one of them is just to increase the number of vaccination posts. Kenyans may have known that we had only 800 vaccination posts when we began by beginning of July. And at any one time, because of vaccine shortages, only maybe 200 were actually administering the vaccines. Now that the vaccines are there, we've discussed with the county governments. We've told them to give us lists going up to level 2. That is even those posts that are really close to people to be among the 3,000. So we are increasing up to 3,000, the number of vaccination posts. So that's one strategy, geographic access. The other thing we are doing is outreaches. And yesterday you saw the cabinet secretary in Kiambu launching outreaches that will be conducted, targeting the elderly people, targeting areas with high populations, so that we are again as close as possible to them, using community health workers to identify populations. And the third one is just the communication campaign.
All right. I want to bring in the other guests into the conversation as well. Dr. Joseph Mbai is the CEC for Health in Murang'a County and is also the chair of the CECs for Health caucus in the country. And we're also joined by Dr. Samuel Mwenda, who's the chair of the Kenya Faith-Based Health Services Consortium. Dr. Mwenda, starting with you, very good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you on the show. Yeah. And you represent the Faith-Based Health Services Consortium. Just for clarity and for everybody to be on the same page, who are those?
Thank you. The faith-based health service providers have been key stakeholders in health service delivery in Kenya. And the main players here include all the churches that provide health services. We have the Protestant churches, we have the Catholics, within the Protestant, we also have the Seventh-day Adventists, we also have SUPKEM, bringing on board all the Islamic affiliated facilities. We also have Mission for Essential Drugs and Supplies, which is a supply chain that supports and complements the delivery of essential medicines across the country. So this being the major player in health service delivery, in training of health workers, and also supporting access to essential medicines across the country.
So relative to this particular campaign, I'm then to assume that what you're saying is that all these faith-based health facilities are offering their facilities and their work and their staff to vaccinate the people.
The faith-based health service providers provide services complementing government services, and we are part of the national health service delivery system, playing all the way from the national level to the grassroots, being part of the county health delivery structure. So we provide essential services that are recommended by government of Kenya and by WHO. We've been immunizing children, for example, across all our health facilities at the various levels. So this being a very essential service, we are prepared and ready to be part of the immunization process, just like we are part of the COVID management health system.
Dr. Hwale, we've seen recently, in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, that we've seen other institutions then sending out or broadcasting messages that there will be a vaccination drive in this church or there will be one in this school. Is this part of this effort, and is it the joint campaign to get more vaccinated?
Absolutely, it is. It's a joint campaign. In fact, I'm happy Dr. Mwenda and Dr. Honorable Mbai are here, because about 3 weeks ago we had a meeting with the Interfaith Council, and they offered themselves and said, we want to support this. They were concerned that the political class was not talking about COVID. They told us they were very concerned with the deaths that about a month ago that were occurring. And then about 2 weeks ago, we were with Honorable Mbai in Nyeri to really now plan how the counties can really own this. Because right now, vaccination as a service delivery is a function really of the counties. So we believe the next phase is going to be driven a lot more by the religious leaders and the county governments and the communities. That partnership, everybody playing their part, will be very key.
And one of the things then has been access to information that we then see in the different groups that we are in, that folks are asking, so where can I get a vaccination today? Where in my area is there something available? Will there be, or is there currently, and perhaps we do not know, a list of where, if I'm on Mombasa Road today, for example, where can I access vaccination in my vicinity? Is that information being made available?
It is going to be made available. We are refining it a little bit because remember, these facilities, it is the counties that identify them. So currently we've told the counties, give us the list for expanding from 800 to 3,000. Why that is important, because we want to be sure that those facilities have the necessary infrastructure to vaccinate. We do not have maybe people putting facilities that don't exist. So the counties have really to own and tell us these are existing. The other thing we are looking at is that the people must have been trained to administer the 5 types of vaccine that we are administering. Now, once that is completed, and I want to really push it for next week, then we are going to put it on our website. But that is one. For me, more important, at the market level, at the lower levels, we've had discussions that we want to brand a lot of those, so that as you are walking, you can see this is a vaccination post. Within markets, there are banners telling you vaccination is taking place at ABC and D.
Please go ahead.
Let me bring in Dr. Mbai. Dr. Mbai is on the line with us, and Dr. Mbai, like you said, is a CEC for Health in Murang'a. He's also the chair of the National CECs for Health Caucus. Dr. Mbai, much of this load is going to be on you and your fellows at the fellow CECs at county level to make sure that as many people as possible are able to turn up for the vaccines, and also to make sure that as many facilities as possible are available for people to turn up. When you're talking about looking at vaccinating 2 million people in 20 days, that's a huge number.
Well, for us in the counties, actually, we are prepared, and what actually is happening is that the counties now are identifying the vaccination centers that they really need to upgrade so that we can be able to have more vaccination centers. Initially, we had a few, but with the team of Dr. Akwale in increasing the availability of vaccines, and also advising us to scale up, we are now making sure that all the health centers, especially where we have more than one nurse, they become vaccination centers. And we've started now giving in that list to the ministry so that they can actually gazette them as vaccination centers. So by the end of next week, we'll have finished giving that list, and we'll have close to 3,000 or even more, because you find that I'm finding in the counties the people now have already accepted that the vaccine is the way to go. Initially, we had a hiccup where people were not even accepting to be vaccinated. They had all meds. We have already passed those meds, and acceptance is very high. And we are finding people coming and lining up and having, saying in the sun and saying that we want the vaccine, and the acceptability is very high right now. So the only thing now we need to do is to make sure that we provide more spaces for vaccination, we make sure that the vaccine is available, and we also communicate the areas where the vaccines are being administered. I think once we do that, it will be easier even to reach the 20 million mark by end of this year.
Something that I'd like to find out, all these plans are all good and well, but how informed are the would-be recipients of the vaccination? Are they well informed about where they can go to get the vaccines? Are they well informed about the possible side effects of the vaccines? Are they well informed about the types of vaccines or the similarity of the vaccines, the efficacy of the vaccines? In short, I'm asking, how prepared are we to communicate comprehensively to our citizens about the vaccine?
Thank you very much, Muga, for that question. And let me say that our vaccination program has gone through a number of phases. In the first phase, it was very well, it was targeted. Healthcare workers, frontline workers, security, and therefore the message was not a generalized message. We then brought on board the senior citizens, 58 years plus, but now we've expanded that to say more than 3/4 of the deaths are occurring in 50 years, so now we are vaccinating 50 years plus. We've brought in now the hospitality sector. We've brought in the transport sector because we want those parts of the economy to open up. Now, that is the exact reason. What we are going to do is now this communication campaign. And this is what we were launching yesterday, Pata Chanjo, Ka Chonjo. This is, now we want the message to start reaching the people. We have the vaccines. We had this challenge that we could have hyped this earlier, but the vaccines were not there, and people would have really come and told us, you are telling us to be vaccinated, you don't have. Now we have the vaccines. We have a very clear communication campaign. Among the things we are going to do is to even identify local champions within communities who are really going to engage the communities, and this will really be the counties doing that. And secondly, where we want to use the media, the vernacular radio stations are now going to be a lot more active. We are partnering with the UNICEF and other people to really push this, and also the government is putting in money, especially for vernacular radio stations. We are going to put a lot more efforts there.
Because the target essentially, or one of the more important targets is rural areas, whereby people might not get the information as to where they can get vaccinated. I can see that. And also then the importance of vaccination right now. What's the message around that? Because there's been a lot, kind of like what Honorable Mbai said a few moments ago, that there has been a lot of speculation about whether I should or I shouldn't, whether I should go for this vaccine or another. So, and then people have become mini scientists in their own right. You know, so what are we saying now in terms of, are we saying, look, the best vaccination is a vaccination and you should go for it? Or what is that message concerning that speculation?
The message we have is that if you are eligible, and now eligible here means anybody above 18 years, because that's where the vaccine, you need to get vaccinated. We have moved from the stage where people are saying these vaccines are experimental. In fact, in my view now, anybody trying not to get vaccinated, they're experimenting on themselves and it will be disastrous. So we are telling them, right now it is, you get the vaccine. And what I've seen, I think the hesitancy, a little bit of hesitancy which was there at the beginning, quite often was not informed on the benefits of the vaccine, and we are telling them that the vaccine prevents severe disease. That is why they were given emergency use, because it's severe disease that will lead you to hospitalization and lead you to death. One of the things I've seen in this country is that, you know, people try to equate a vaccine to a medicine. So they say, let me wait until I feel I'm sick, then I'll go for the vaccine. That is not the case. You need to be protected in advance. And let me just give, before Kisumu, the Nyanza region and Western had a wave, actually 2 weekends before that, Some of the leaders at the health sector were telling me, vaccines are not moving, we want to give you back. And we were preparing how to recall them and take them to where, because demand is very different.
Right.
But 2 weeks down the line, their beds were full and now they were asking us, bring more vaccines. So for me, I think at this time, even as our curve is going down, this is the time to get vaccinated, because this pandemic is coming in waves. We want a lower wave this time than the fourth wave.
Right.
Yeah.
Dr. Mwenda, rather, you represent the religious healthcare providers, but also because many people when they're coming to that facility, they actually look at it differently. They don't look at it as a private healthcare provider. They don't look at it as government. They have that direct line with religion. Many have been using religion as one of the reasons for vaccine hesitancy. What are your facilities and your network doing to champion uptake of these vaccines?
Thank you very much for that question. Our health facilities have been providing the correct messages that have been developed by Ministry of Health, the team that is leading this effort. The good thing now, we have the Interreligious Council, which is also providing messaging and updating the religious fraternity regarding the importance of maintaining COVID prevention measures, including prioritizing taking vaccine. And we are leading by example, not only being vaccination centers, but also being on the forefront in receiving the vaccination. But we are all Kenyans, and just like Dr. Akwale has said, we need to keep reinforcing the message. We need to step up communication with our health workers being in the front line because they have more information. But we have to be guided by the messaging that is being packaged by Ministry of Health because it's simple, it's accurate, and a good thing, there are also contacts where you can reach out to get clarification on any issues you have. And we need to work on a system that will enable us to reach people even in their places where they live, where they go for worship, where they have their work activities, so that there is that dialogue, and addressing issues that individuals may have regarding the understanding of the vaccine. But we want to encourage our government to keep talking, keep reinforcing the message at every opportunity. Thank you.
Even as you say that, Dr. Mwenda, previously we saw that some parts of religious organizations had sent out a different message when it came to vaccinations. Has that messaging been quashed by what is currently happening? And for those who may have latched onto that messaging about being anti-vaccination, how then are you able to deal with that communication for those who may have swallowed it up previously?
We appreciate the leadership that's been provided by the Interfaith Council. And what we're encouraging all religious institutions is to take guidance from the message that's coming from that team that was mandated to engage on their behalf, but also directly from Ministry of Health. The Christian Health Association of Kenya, where I serve on my full-time job as the General Secretary, we even have a program on disseminating messages of hope around COVID-19. And that's not only disseminating the accurate messaging about COVID, but also dealing with myths and misconceptions. So initially, many of us were misinformed about vaccination because we were reading what we were seeing in the social media and the international media as vaccination started. But there's been a lot more progress. So we want to keep providing the accurate information now that the vaccines are here and they are accessible very close to where they live, in institutions that they go for services and they have confidence in. And I think with that ongoing engagement, people get better informed, and they change around. I think this is the kind of journey we went through when HIV came to this country. And from when it started to where we are now, it's a complete, different perspective. Sure. Thank you.
Are you in Kenya? Are you an adult? Are you above 18? Have you been vaccinated? The message from the government is go out and get the COVID vaccine. And the tagline here is Pata chanjo ka chonjo, right? Pata chanjo ka chonjo. Having a conversation with Dr. Willis Ahwale, the chairman of the COVID Vaccine Deployment Task Force. Also joining us on the line is Dr. Joseph Mbai, the CEC for Health in Murang'a County and the chair of the CECs for Health Caucus, and Samuel Mwenda Daktari. He's the chair of the Kenya Faith-Based Health Services Consortium. Let us take a break and then we continue this conversation shortly. It's 8:30. We are live on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, and we are live streaming online.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
If I'm found guilty, there is no problem. I'm willing to serve. I have no problem. Jails are meant for human beings.
They say a society gets the leadership it deserves. If you have a corrupt, crooked and rotten society like we have in Kenya, then of course they will get that kind of a leadership.
I think the president should dissolve parliament. That's the best solution at this moment in time. Dissolve parliament.
All of you go home.
Yes, we all go home.
How are we encouraging other people who might have new and creative ideas? Young people who are making money without any government help. They are just buying their own bundles. They are going on TikTok and making money. KRA is coming after them.
I've been in parliament for 15 years. We have been unable to pass the gender law. And yet no presidential candidate is talking about it now. Because we are fake. The truth is, all the men refuse to vote for that law.
What did Sonko do to Pumwani from maternity hospital?
Yeah, he
with
cleaned
his
it up.
own money.
Cleaned it with his own money. That was him as an individual.
Yeah. And I did not say he was cleaning his own money. I was saying he cleaned
Foot, mouth. Foot, mouth. Eric.
Okay.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Spice and everything nice. All right.
Spice up your life.
Partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 18, highs of 27 and lows of 15. Looking at sunny conditions in Nakuru at 17, highs of 27 and lows of 14. 15 will be the low in Nyeri, where it's raining at 16, going to highs of 24. In Eldoret, mostly cloudy conditions at about 17, highs of 26 and lows of 13. In Mombasa this morning, a sprinkle in some parts, mostly cloudy conditions for most, highs of 29 and lows of 24. It's raining in Malindi at 28. We'll see highs of 29, lows of 24 as well. Kisumu is partly sunny at 24, highs of 30 and lows of 20. And Kakamega partly sunny at 24 to come down to lows of 16 today and highs of 29. Out in Kampala, mostly cloudy conditions at 22, highs of 28 and lows of 19. Where in Dar es Salaam, it's partly sunny at 26, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Lagos, light rain at 25 now. Those clear skies have clouded up, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Partly sunny conditions in Johannesburg at 13, highs of 23 and lows of 13. Mostly cloudy conditions in Kinshasa at 25, highs of 32 and lows of 24.
Spice up your life.
All right, the traffic situation in Westlands today is then touching other fingers of the city. We're looking at inbound traffic then spilling over into the CBD today. The Thika Superhighway all the way that's on this side of Mombasa Road, then going all the way in that direction and really compounding issues there. Kiambu Road also jam-packed and then coming towards the Pangani underpass. That whole Ngara area going towards Nairobi Central and then coming off of Westlands, coming out of Upper Hill Uhuru Highway, then all the way from the Nyayo Stadium roundabout in and outbound is jam-packed, as is Langata Road. We are in the middle of traffic hour, understandable, but for some reason, the headache seems to be a little bit thicker this morning coming out of Westlands. Mombasa Road also continues to be a thing. The ICD route is an option, though, and the bypasses, save for outer ring, save for the northern bypass, looking pretty good today. Use them. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. You know the drill. Text on 40127.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
It's 25 minutes.
94.4 Spice FM.
The Situation Room on Spice FM, KTN Home and online. In the room this morning is Eric Latiff, Ndu Okoh, CT Muga, and Dr. Willis Ahwale, the chairman of the COVID Vaccine Deployment Task Force. Joining us on the line, Dr. Samuel Mwenda, chairman of the Kenya Faith-Based Health Services Consortium, and Dr. Joseph Mai, the chairman of all the CECs for Health caucus countrywide. We are talking about the government's plan to have at least 5.8 million COVID-19 doses administered within the next 20 days. So far, Dr. Ahwale has told us the latest statistics that he's seen, 3.8 million doses have been administered by this morning. So we are looking at a target of 2 million administered in 20 days. That is quite a drive. The idea here is pata chanjo, ka chonjo. To get all this working, you're increasing the number of vaccination posts from the previous 800 to about 3,000. And that's where Dr. Mbai comes in, and also Dr. Mwenda, in providing the facilities and also the personnel to administer the vaccines. But at the same time, I heard Dr. Mbai, you say that this is the time when you are giving the ministry the number of health facilities that are available, and you hope that by the end of next week, then those health facilities will be declared. That will be 7 days into the 20-day period. Don't you think that's already working too close to the target?
You see, what is happening right now is that those vaccination centers are already doing the vaccination. The only thing that they haven't done is, there's a requirement by the Ministry for gazettement.
Yep.
But we have already started. For example, now in my county now, I have already 80 vaccination centers that initially I had 24. So you can imagine I've added up to 80. And then I have 42 outreach centers, which are not, they are not health facilities, but they are our vaccination centers that we have set up, which are linked to the gazetted vaccination centers. So the issue of the list for gazettement at the ministry is what may delay, but vaccination is going on. And for those outreach centers we are setting up, they are already vaccinating, and staff have been doing it, and we are getting vaccines from Dr. Akwale every single day. Once we get depleted of stock, we are getting vaccines. So it's a process which is ongoing, and we are doing this because we need to make sure that we have that data. And I think when we were in Nyeri, that is what we agreed with the team of Dr. Akwale, that we start the vaccination, and then we can be doing the vaccination as we send the data later. So the vaccination is going on. So we are not late, because activities are already going. And then there's a question you had asked about awareness, whether the people are aware, what are the side effects and such. This communication has been given, and even what my health workers are doing, and that is what all the other counties are doing, when people come for vaccination, before the vaccination starts, they are actually educated by the healthcare workers right at the site. They are informed what are the possible side effects, and we also keep them for about 15 minutes just to check whether there are any adverse events that may arise after vaccination. So for that we have no problem. Then in terms of awareness, we are even announcing in churches. I know Mwenda will tell you that the churches are really helping us in terms of dissemination of information, because every Sunday there is an announcement of where is the vaccination center nearest. So the Christians are able to be told, if you go to this place, you will find. And we are also using radio. We are also using the community health volunteers who normally go door to door. And they are the ones actually who are bringing up the old ones. And then yesterday, after the launch of mobile clinics, we are also setting up, each county will set up a mobile clinic, which can reach the ones who cannot be able to move, so that we are able to vaccinate as many as possible. So 20 days, I feel that it's doable. It's a target we can achieve in the counties. And especially even for Kirinyaga County, where the Mashujaa Day will be, I think we have scaled up seriously. And as a neighboring county, I'm also supporting them to vaccinate as many people as possible. And that will be achievable.
I applaud the efforts, but I'm going to be a bit niggling on this matter. When you say that the plans are underway, and I like the outreach program that you've outlined, are you saying that every county in this country have the same understanding of what ought to be done, and that they are all doing the same thing so that you can all achieve this one goal?
We had a meeting last week, and we gave that information. And as the chair of the CC caucus, I have a meeting with the CCs to update them every Monday. So the counties are well informed. They know what we are supposed to be doing. They have been given the vaccine, and that will be achieved.
You know, Doc, we're coming from with the background of there are some counties, even in all the campaign drives so far, that were lagging behind, that are not doing very well in terms of the number of people vaccinated versus the vaccines that have been taken to them. What is being done in those counties to change the table, to improve their performance?
Okay, what I'm saying is that once we had that meeting, we gave responsibility to the CECs in charge to take charge of their counties. Because, for example, me, when I sit in Muranga, I will make sure that happens. If, for example, a CEC in Wajir doesn't, or in another place doesn't make that happen, then that one now becomes a personal irresponsibility. But as a country, we have given that information. All the CECs are aware. So if there's one which will lag behind, maybe that will be a disadvantage to their people, because we will still continue vaccinating in the counties that are serious and uptaking. But the ones that may lag behind, then we are flushing those out, and we are sending teams to the ground to make sure that doesn't happen. And we are doing evaluation every end of week. So by the end of this week, which is tomorrow, maybe we'll be knowing how have we vaccinated this week, which county has been left behind, and how do we assist them to move together as a country. So that we are doing.
You know, Dr. Mbai, one of the things that, again, I must speak positively about are the efforts that are being made. However, efforts don't always translate into the desirable action. This is why you see us harping on this very same point. Because you say people are told or given information in churches. Excellent. It's a very good avenue. There are very many people who don't go to churches. But those aren't my worry. What about those who have issues with vaccines? People who don't necessarily feel that vaccines are safe, and they need to be communicated to, and they need to be convinced. How are you going about communicating this same message to these people?
Okay, you see, when we have apathy on a vaccine in a certain group, and I've seen that happen even in my county in Muranga, we give clear information on what is the importance of the vaccine, and we also tell them the vaccines that are available, the different types, all of them have the same efficacy, because we are finding the apathy could be even to a certain vaccine. Somebody would say, me, I don't want AstraZeneca, me, I don't want Moderna, me, I want J&J. But we have been able to convince them and probably inform them scientifically what is the essence of having that vaccine. And because I don't think there's anyone now who haven't seen a person who has been affected by COVID and what has happened, including the number of deaths that have gone into that. So we've continuously given that message, and we haven't seen somebody who have come out saying that I don't want to be vaccinated. What they normally do, they will post in social media. They will ask funny questions. But for the ones who have come out and they were saying, okay, I have a problem with this certain vaccine. I'll wait for this one. We have been able to convince them, and they have taken what is available. But that point is well noted. I think we now, as a government, we really need to go out there and probably see those ones now who are the ones who have apathy. What do we do with them? But for right now, my concentration would be very much on the ones who are available and the ones who are willing to be vaccinated, so that I am able to vaccinate as many as possible.
Dr. Lwala, can you talk to us a little bit about misinformation?
Yeah, so thank you very much for that question. And there are two things that really worry us. The first one was the whole issue of misinformation, and I'll touch on something also called disinformation. And misinformation is people just not having the right information about these vaccines. From the beginning, how do the vaccines work? Of what benefit are they? Do they cause infertility? Are they going to cause death? And we get people putting on social media, in 2 years people will be dead. Already more than close to 2 billion people have been vaccinated. So and then the issues of side effects, that if you get this, ABCD will happen. So misinformation and giving the right information about how the vaccines work, what benefits there are, is something we really want now to be spread down. We've come up with a deployment plan that guides on how that can be done. We expect at community level to have champions who are able to pass this information in the local dialect. But then there's also what we call disinformation, which in other words is propaganda. It is people who already know this is the case, but they will go and tell you it actually causes infertility. And to me, that is extremely worrying. And it is the disinformation that currently we must fight. But then there are also where we have even the professionals themselves not passing very clear messages to would-be recipients of the vaccines. As you know, in this country, we are very worried about the uptake among the elderly. Those above 58 years, we wanted to vaccinate 2.6 million of them. Only 10% of them now are fully vaccinated. And we've been getting reports, for example, stating that some of the healthcare workers, when somebody has diabetes, hypertension, or cancer, and the patient just asks, should I really get this vaccine? The health workers are not forthcoming to encourage them to take. They themselves are being hesitant. And then that is where we have a problem. We want to be very clear that the vaccine, in fact, is most helpful in people with underlying medical conditions, those who can develop complications. So this should be the first on the queue. And that is why we have actually given now guidance that as elderly people attend clinics, let the vaccines be there so that they are vaccinated.
Still going to the issue of the elderly, Dr. Hwale, there is the issue of then registration. There's a requirement to register on the M-Chanjo, and this is the online platform. Now, the same elderly persons, what kind of assistance should they be getting? Because one of the things that we are hearing from the ground is people saying, okay, I'm required to register on some platform, and I don't have access or I don't have the know-how to register.
Yeah, thank you. The reason we are actually using the registration module is to help us plan better, is to help us focus. Remember, we are not in the situation where we have sufficient doses. We want to know where to take doses where there is demand at this time in our vaccination program. And also to manage the second dose so that once you are vaccinated, we keep for you the second dose to be fully vaccinated. Now, the issue of registration, there are three ways of doing it. The first one is self-registration, but we have also what we call assisted registration. And assisted registration is like for you registering even for your parents. Actually, we want the young people to use their smartphones to register for their parents. Then the parents can go. We can also have assisted registration by the health worker. So community health workers can take details and they take to the nearest post, and then the health workers register them into the chanjo system. So the issue of assisted registration is available.
On that last note, for community health workers, isn't it something that ought to be deliberate? That they, I mean, or is it possible, or is it being done right now, that you have a go-to system, that you're actually going from the way the polio vaccination happens, that you're going from door to door? Because to say that you find your nearest community health worker and then register, I am sure it's not going to happen. But if you have people going and saying, look, I mean, I guess it could be part of this, going and saying, have you registered? If you haven't, we can assist. Because this also is an online portal. We can guarantee also that many people do not have access. So in terms of it being deliberate, the CWH goes, the CHW goes to people and registers them, and then, almost as though something that will be deliberate and proactive. Yes.
Exactly what we launched in Kiambu yesterday is exactly what you've described, and that's how we want to work. Because we want them to tell us where are these people, so that an outreach is more informed. So they will go, they will identify, they will take the details, and once they enter in a chanjo system, we will know the next outreach. We have 500 people around this region, and that's where we are going. Yeah.
Okay.
So it should be deliberate. Well, Kiambu has done it. I hope the other counties, best practices are very good to learn from. So we hope that the others as well learn from that.
In terms of a supply issue, and this is also something that we get to sometimes get worried about, that could essentially feed into then what Dr. Mwendo is doing, and then to feed into what Dr. Mbai is doing. In terms of a national supply, are we at a place whereby we will not have an issue if we run out? We're still... Those that have been bought by government have not yet fully come into the country. Those that have been touted by donation also are not complete. And then we still have these numbers and these targets. What assurances do you have that we're not going to get into a place where these campaigns are rolled out and then we don't have the life?
Okay. No, and that's a very fair question you ask. And I want to start by saying the stage up to December, we are seeing an improving situation. But we have looked at the period from January next year is when we'll have sufficient doses to really ensure that the supply chain is consistent. But even with this improving situation, we are testing our systems. And for us now is what Mbai said, where there's demand is where we want to take the vaccines so that they are reached. Remember, number one, the vaccines also have very short expiry by just the nature in which they are and the way we are now getting them. So we will not put them somewhere and be waiting until people start coming. We will quickly move them to where the demand is. That's first and foremost. And then secondly, I think what Mbai said, we are now determined that at the end of every week, either Friday or latest Monday, to publish how the counties are performing so that Kenyans can see how efforts are leading to increased numbers. So we are going to really have a list and show who is the top performing and those who are not top. But more important, I think, strategies can be different. And that question has been asked. We for example, the semi-arid areas, we've actually approached the Red Cross and they have very kindly decided to take, 7 counties in the northern area, and they are going to support reaching out to the mobile population. Okay. Yes.
Doc, there was a news article recently with regards to the donations of Pfizer vaccine from the USA, that they arrived, but they didn't come with the syringes that go with them. Has that been addressed? Because we've seen also yesterday there was a new batch of Pfizer vaccines that have arrived from the USA. Are they available in this campaign?
The syringes will be shipped tomorrow. They'll arrive here in Kenya on Saturday. They are huge consignments. They will arrive both on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And therefore, from Monday, Pfizer vaccinations will begin, or latest Tuesday, in some other regions in the country. Now, the reason as to why that occurred is that Pfizer as a vaccine is put in what you call a multi-dose vial. and the amount of vaccine that you have to draw required a special syringe and needle. Now, but the main reason that they delayed is because Pfizer, the vaccine itself, the packaging and the way it is specialized, the U.S. government, when it's giving a donation, it can use one partner. In Kenya, you saw it came by DHL, but the accessories are being brought through UNICEF. So UNICEF was bringing that. For us, we saw it as 10 days will be adequate enough for us to have already distributed the Pfizer doses. So yes, we regret for 1 or so week delay, but come next week, Pfizer people will be vaccinated.
When you talk about the the uniqueness of the syringes, are we saying then that the healthcare workers will have to be trained in using them?
They were trained. They were already trained. We actually, you may have realized that the first 3 weeks of September vaccination was slow, is because we targeted to train 3,000 health workers on all the 5 vaccines, because they all are administered differently. So they have been trained on Pfizer. They are ready to start administering Pfizer. They have been trained. They were shown the syringe. They were shown how it works. We had samples. So they are very, very clear on them.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Willis Ahwale, Chair of the COVID Vaccine Deployment Task Force. Joining us also on the line, Asanteni Sana, Dr. Samuel Mwenda, Chair of the Kenya Faith-Based Health Services Consortium, and Dr. Joseph Mbai, the Chair of the National CEC's Health Caucus. We wish you all the best as you roll out this particular campaign. 2 million vaccine doses to be administered in the next 20 days. The target is to have
100,000 a day.
100,000 a day.
So yesterday we did close to 70, so we are moving.
Okay, so it's possible. Have you been vaccinated? Are you an adult 18 years and above in this republic? Pata chanjo, ka chonjo, that's the campaign. A COVID-19 vaccine is available and the government is saying we are rolling it out. We are increasing the number of places where you can get this, in public facilities, in private facilities, and also in the faith-based facilities. Asanteni sana. We want to say goodbye to our audience on KTN Home, but the conversations continue on SpiceFM. You can switch over to SpiceFM around the country or SpiceFM KE, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and www.spicefm.co.ke.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
No, you know, this wheelbarrow, how can you give people wheelbarrow? His party symbol is an umbrella. Is he distributing umbrellas in Makueni?
Have you been told if we don't lock between 10 to 4, this is what we're saving?
You try and call them, the same person who was in your house every day, because they know you are influential and you will give them votes. Call them after 1 month and see if they'll pick up their phone.
Don't tell your member of parliament that you want him to come and build a school, you want him to come and do a hospital. That is not the work of the member. Now that we have devolution in this country, these resources should go to those devolved units.
You have to have strong, independent institutions. And I mean, you have to have police who has the right to take the biggest town in the country and question, why did you do this and that, and send them to court if necessary.
Joel in Kericho, good morning.
Salama sana Eric, habari asubuhi.
Salama kabisa. Mbunge wako ni nani?
Anaitwa Seriousness Maritim, hapa ni Ainamoi.
Seriousness Maritim, Ainamoi.
Yes. Sasa ile juma nampambia yeye nini? Amalize aende.
Oh wow.
Asante sana.
That's it.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM,
right,
Nairobi.
I want to thank you very much for keeping it locked on Spice FM. Have you received your vaccine, either first dose, second dose, or if it's Johnson & Johnson, the only shot that's required? Pata chanjo ka chonjo. That is a huge target.
Huge target.
Of doing 100,000 people a day.
Mm.
That's a huge target. It would require basically just all concerted efforts and the government playing the good side of government.
I
because
think
it's possible.
Work. It can
2
work.
million in 20 days.
Look, It
they
can
can
work.
do it.
It can work. All the country's children been vaccinated against polio. What are we talking about?
This can be done. This can be done. It's just how they manage it, how they roll it out, and how they also fight disinformation and misinformation at the same time. And this is it. So by the end of this month, we want to have at least 5.8 million, close to 6 million people having received at least the first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine. Maybe half of them with a full dose. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is Newswire Dennis Assetto. Various leaders have started arriving at the Bomas of Kenya for the Kanu delegates meeting with ODM leader Raila Odinga as the guest of honor. The meeting is expected to give direction Kanu will take towards next year's elections. Other leaders are the One Kenya Alliance members Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, Moses Wetangula of Ford Kenya and Kalonzo Musyoka of Wiper, who have been invited for the meeting. Kanu members are expected to announce their chairman, who is also Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, as the flag bearer of the presidency. Yesterday, Kanu leaders held a preparatory meeting saying Moi is best suited for office of president.
The Kanu that we know, he should definitely step up to the plate and rise up to the occasion and be the party of independence and be the party that can also offer leadership for this country.
For quite some time, it has been people who have been mentioning for him, and it has been people who have been afraid of him being a candidate. He has never said. Now this is the time he's saying. We expect a lot from this nation and some political dynamics.
And this is the right time for our party to fill a candidate. So we have been away for a long time, and now it's a call from Kenyans, and they said Gideon Moi must go for this seat.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has made changes to his cabinet, where devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa has been transferred to the Ministry of Defence, previously held by Monica Juma, who has been transferred to the Ministry of Energy under CS Charles Keter. Keter has been transferred to the Devolution Ministry headed by Eugene Wamalwa. In a statement issued by the state house spokesperson Kanzadena, President Kenyatta also made a number of changes to various ministries, some with additional responsibilities.
Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Dr. Monica Juma moves from the Ministry of Defence to the Ministry of Energy. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Charles Keter moves and becomes the Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of Devolution. Cabinet Secretary Honorable Eugene Wamalwa now takes over the Ministry of Defence. Cabinet Secretary Margaret Kobia retains her portfolio, but as you saw earlier, it was her she got more duties, and with the new ministry, it will now be the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs, and Special Programs.
These changes take effect immediately. Now, the increase in fuel prices was due to hike in fuel prices around the world, as well as the need to control fraudulent traders who have been mixing diesel and kerosene. This is according to principal secretaries in the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining, who appeared before the Finance and Planning Committee of the National Assembly, which is pushing for a reduction in fuel prices.
There is a serious shortage of crude oil in terms of production. The stores of most places are quite low, so of course it increases the price. So that leaves us really exposed to the price movements. We believe that the current price is robust. The price formula is robust. So during the period April to August 2021, the amount paid out to the oil marketing companies for the stabilization of pump prices was 8,674,683,453 shillings and 62 cents.
From fuel prices, we go to China, where China hands out at least twice as much development money as the US and other major powers. The sheer amount of Chinese lending is startling. Not too long ago, China was receiving foreign aid, but now the tables have turned. It is reported that the loans are issued quickly, even at high interest rates, making many countries, especially in Africa, even poorer and threatening to be stripped of some of the major projects such as the modern Lamu Port and the SGR. According to a research report by Aid Data in the United States, China offers twice the size of loans compared to rich nations like the United States and the United Kingdom. In total, China has provided loans of $843 billion US. According to the study, most African countries are in high-risk lending with high interest rates from Chinese government banks. To sports, a new Harambee Stars head coach Engin Firat has named a 34-man provisional squad for the upcoming 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mali next month, with a number of long-term absentees making a comeback, notably the quartet of Zambia-based centre-back David Calaba, Owino, Greek Al Larissa, left-back Abud Omar, winger Ovela Ochieng, goalkeeper Farouk Shikalo, and Spain-based Ismail Gonzalez are some of the players who have been recalled. Local-based players enter camp today, with the foreign-based players linking up with the team depending on their league commitments over the weekend. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, outbound on Mombasa Road today, all the way from Airtel, and then headed towards the general direction of General Motors. Not moving, well, okay, moving, but very, very slowly this morning. The week-long traffic situation is not getting any better. All right, we're looking at then North Airport Road, heading towards Embakasi, that roundabout, and then spilling over to Outer Ring Road, also quite messy this morning. It's a sticky situation on most of these Nairobi streets this morning. Langata Road, quite packed. Ngong Road doing the same thing. Bagavi Way, which would have been, your escape route from Langata Road, also is quite packed, heading to the City Mortuary roundabout and then joining with the oncoming traffic from Gong Road, going towards Valley Road, out into the city. Okay, wherever you look and throw a stone, you're going to land on traffic this morning. Something's going on, that's for sure. We still have heavy traffic on the Thika Superhighway. That has not let off any. Also on Kiambu Road, in and outbound, very slow this morning as then you get to that junction. So we'll just wait, right? What can we do? SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Are you stuck or is something getting really, really bad? Let us know or talk to us on text 40127.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation
7
Room,
minutes after 9,
the
Kenya's
only
biggest
way to start
conversation
your...
enters the final hour. A very good morning to you. Let us hear today's proverb from C.T. Muga.
One doesn't enter the water and then run from the cold.
One doesn't enter the water and then run from the cold.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've entered the water, deal with the cold. Part of the package.
Or get ready to shiver.
Yes. It's part of the package, right?
It's part of the package.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Ukiavulia yaoge.
Mm.
Because the Swahili ones who say that.
Mm-hmm. If you vulia it, oga it.
Oga it.
Mm.
Yeah? So, with that, ukiavulia yaoge, the president clearly was sending a message to the Ministry of Energy yesterday, right? He decided that he wants to see changes there. He decided that for one reason or another, there's a report that he has received from an independent task force that he established, chaired by Mr. Ngumi, John Ngumi, which included experts in various spheres in the country. They came up with a report on the IPPs and how much we're paying, what are the contracts that have been signed between the independent power producers and Kenya Power. And the report came and said many things. And the recommendation was, first, if there's any power purchase agreement that has not been concluded, that one, freeze it. Among other things, let's also see how we can work with the IPPs so that we don't have to pay as much as we're paying. And in the next 4 months or so, by December, 35% should be the drop of the power costs. So somebody who has been spending how much, did they tell us? 500 shillings in the last bill should now spend 300 and something shillings by December for the same number of units in power. And this is a report that's going to be implemented immediately. It's not one of those that needs to gather dust. And to make sure that it's implemented immediately, he brings in a whole team in charge of the ministry. He brings in the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Defense, Monica Juma, reassigns her to the Ministry of Energy. He brings in retired Major General Gordon Kihalangwa from, where was he? Public Works, State Department for Public Works, brings him the Principal Secretary in charge of Energy. The CS for Energy moves to devolution, which is just left with devolution without assals. The CS. The PS for Energy moves to transport. They've been taken there, go and do something else. Lighter duties, as you can clearly see from those reshuffles. So the question is, when the president was entering this water, he knew it was going to be cold. Should he have just decided to sit with the cold and told Mr. Charles Keter, thank you very much. You've served very well from the moment when I plucked you from the Senate, when you had been elected by the people of Kericho to be a senator, and you agreed to come and work as the CS for Energy. But at this point on, we have a different need and idea. So just go back home. Let me bring somebody else. Should the president have just bitten the bullet and fired these two instead of transferring them for lighter duties? No. And the argument I'm using here is just a casual observation of what happened. It's a show of no confidence from the president. There's a report that's been brought to me, and I want somebody else to implement this report.
How many task forces in the last year, since this year began, as the president set up? Now, every day at some point during this show, we talk about task forces, their findings, and the one consistent tale is the unimplementability of those findings. Meaning, findings are there, and we are discussing the possibilities of when the findings might actually be implemented. Now, every time there's a problem, a task force is formed, and it's a good thing so that we understand in greater details, and they say it's independent. Now, do you remember that particular discussion that we had with regards to the power sector, specifically KPLC, and the number of times the board met to try and discuss, to sort out matters which also now contribute to this thing that we're saying? Was a solution arrived at? No, if anything, what we saw after all those many deliberations, I'm going to be facetious here, on more days in a year than the actually days in a year, at our cost, of course, no solution was arrived at, and yet people met findings.
We saw the exit of the MD.
Yes, but that, look, that's musical chairs in that particular
organization.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every other day, somebody comes in just before you've learned to pronounce their name. Somebody else comes in, and you have to start the exercise all over again. So, in KPLC, the changing of the guard, that is not anything new. It seems to be something that they like doing. Now, when you have such things happening, and you look at the end result of it is the mwananchi, the citizen, doesn't get the services they're supposed to get. His tax money is not utilized as it ought to be. Now, surely, if you are the president of the country and you're faced with the realities, what do? You bring in somebody who you feel, or people who you feel can do the job. Yes. Do you remember the din that we heard with regards to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services and the head? Did you hear? And then, of course, it followed Kenya Meat Commission. Now, do you hear the noise about Kenya Meat Commission now? No, you don't. Do you even read news articles, apart from probably reporting what they've done and how they're doing? Do you hear? The answer is no. So, now, the one thread that seems to be common is the president gets to appoint figures. These civilians whom I have had perhaps seem unable to do certain things. So why don't I bring other people who have shown that they will get the job done?
And further than that, while I'm bringing somebody else to do the job, which we clearly should have consensus over, and you have refused to do it, remember, these individuals were appointed, right? This cabinet is appointed. That means there were certain things that you're supposed to do and we should at least be in agreement over. So here I am, and I'm trying to make life easier for Kenyans. There's an implementation of a report which I have brought in, and then you have clearly an issue with it. Not only will I remove you from that position, right? I will put you in another one whereby your impact is going to be felt less. If it's a lesson that's being taught here, it is a very good one to give.
But then, you see, the president
Is it about because it's not about incompetence. It's not about incompetence.
What is
These
it about?
individuals were competent enough to be appointed in the first place, right?
They were qualified to be appointed.
So now
the president considered him competent enough to reappoint him.
Right? So it's not that you can't do the job right now. It is that you are not malleable. You have not agreed to go in the direction in which we are going. So this is a punishment that I am giving to you. It is not that you can't do the job or that you're incapable of working. No, you are. Right?
No, maybe it's actually that you're incapable of working. Look, the president chairs the cabinet. Okay? So you come into this room. Today, you are representing which docket? Energy. Tomorrow, you'll come in representing devolution. If it's just a movement, musical chairs like we've seen, Monica Juma coming from foreign affairs to defense, or give me another one.
Or from
Matiang'i from education to interior.
Or devolution
or devolution
to energy, whatever.
This is something else. But here we are talking about a move that is clear. I have received a report. I need the report implemented. And then I'm sending you to a ministry, and I've removed some state departments from that ministry and went and, lumped. The State Department for ourselves has been taken to Professor Kobia's ministry. The State Department for special programs has been moved to Kobia's ministry. Now, Kobia has so many state departments under her. You have been taken to a ministry that has only one state department, devolution.
Kobia is competent, you're not.
So why do you want to have that person in the room next time when you're chairing a cabinet?
Because you have to look at what it plays out here. Because it's another way of sticking it to you.
Stick it to them by firing them. There's no clearer message. If you don't deliver, the clearest message is exit. Because at the same time, as I'm teaching you this lesson, I need that State Department for Devolution to continue to work.
Okay.
And if I feel that you're not being able to deliver, then I should bring somebody else who should have better competencies or willingness or whatever to deliver in devolution.
Can I ask the question then? So when you're talking about political appointments, what takes the front row seat?
Whether you're aligned with me or whether you're competent.
Yes. I mean, some competence has to be there.
Yeah.
It's not as though you're just going to appoint every other dunderhead that comes across your way.
And make the minister for sports. No, you don't do that.
No.
You can't do that.
I'm not walking into that trap. You do sometimes. Hence the question, which trumps the other? Or how do you balance it? If you're talking specifically about somebody like C.S. Keter, no. You're talking experience. You're talking about a man who has been in the trenches, a man who has held senior positions, even the previous government, as an assistant minister. No. It's not that he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So, because he is somebody who has a proven track record, okay, in the political sphere and in government, okay. The question that I feel we are actually discussing here is, does the politics of the day mitigate for his sacking or for his being moved? Which one serves a greater purpose? Because now it's not the discussion here is, when you talk politics and competence, you talk about someone's political competence. Because if I'm aligned to you from what I have seen in this country, yes, not only am I competent, Even the rules of engagement that are crystal clear don't necessarily apply.
Okay, City. So let's just open this up nicely.
Thank you, sir.
Are you saying that the Nusumkate arrangements of Jubilee are what prevented the president from dismissing Charles Keter?
Yes, he's not the one who appointed Charles Keter.
Really, eh?
Was that his appointee? No.
All ministers are appointed by the president.
Yeah.
What City is telling you is that there was a placeholder. It was not his.
Yeah.
Somebody else's.
Everyone appoint. The president has a final say on it. Yeah.
But everybody has their own.
Yes. But everybody, that's what Nusumkat is all about. Everybody has their people.
So you're going with this Nation headline, Uhuru cuts Ruto's power in reshuffle. He could not get rid of Ruto's men, but he could get rid of some power from Ruto's men.
And that one lends itself to something that we saw, because the deputy president himself had something similar happen to him. When he started off as deputy president, he had power. He had positions. Those were stripped pole.
1-1.
Yes.
Pole.
Yes, slowly. Like that song. That's some...
slowly, my dear.
Yeah, slowly, my dear. It's actually a lovely song because it doesn't really bother your head. It's the same word repeated over and over again in the low tone and high tone. Slowly, my dear. Slowly, my dear. It's the same song. Okay? It's just the my dear bit that adds to it. But we saw it happening. So if we're to go by what we saw then, we are seeing a repetition of it. The deputy president himself hasn't been sacked because he actually can't
be sacked.
Okay.
So which still brings me back to the question. The president has the powers. Okay? Today, the president has political security in terms of the handshake. Should he have bitten the bullet and just dismissed the gentleman?
I think he bit the bullet.
Instead of just, moving them, because in the end, devolution needs if you created a ministry for devolution, you want it to work.
Yes.
And you have moved this person. Do you think the next time this guy is going to come in the cabinet, he's going to come and smiling at you, be coming there? Yeah, I've come.
But
so what's happening in the devolution ministry? There's no devolution conference this year because of COVID. What else? Counties are working.
Fine. Where's the problem? Look, the musical chairs in politics, okay? This isn't the end of it. There'll be further movements. I mean, when you look at the alignments, the realignments, the statements made, man, there are so many. Half the time you're confused and you don't really know what is what because of the back and forth in terms of statements that politicians make every so often. And then as for the alignments, what they said at some point, what they said later, what they said about this person, what they then retracted, it never ends. So this is far more straightforward. You are a minister, we simply move you. You know why? The argument is reshuffles are normal in government.
Absolutely, and I didn't sack you after all, so I've kept our agreement, isn't it? Whoever your person was, you've brought your person. I didn't get rid of them. I've just put them somewhere else. And it's still a message, if you ask me. It's like the prisoner who's been handcuffed can see outside but can't step outside, right? You play somewhere there. You don't have much in terms of what you're going to do. This thing you're talking about, how devolution must work, it is true. It must work. But right now, that's not the priority. That's not on the horizon.
That's where the politics now comes in.
That's what's being played. Look, you can talk about the importance of this office running, etc., etc. But the messaging behind it, to that Nusumkate, whatever it was, that this is what we had agreed before, is that, you know what? It's okay. I've not gotten rid of him, but I'm passing a message here.
Eric, when we were discussing the BBI in this very same studio, and we looked at it, the one thing that was clear was that BBI was a political tool. Okay? Now, they went and danced around the legalities of such matters, the constitution, and the courts told them to stop dancing. It wasn't just complicated. Stop, do something else. This one you're not going to do. The speed and the electricity with which they accepted the outcome of the court informed me that they also knew that we are pushing this agenda, but you know something? If you shine some very bright legal light onto it and then pour on some even more legal scrutiny,
it'll crumble.
This thing is not going to do quite so. But Let's have a plan B. Now, that's politics. There's an element of convenience that must always feature in political decisions. One, you want something to actually work because the president knows he gets his power from the citizens. Yes. Why? Because our constitution states with clarity.
Yeah, and then here is a ripe plum opportunity. Kenyans are crying about electricity prices. Kenyans are crying about fuel prices. Kenyans are crying about this right now. And then it has been placed in your lap. Here's an opportunity to implement something that's going to drive down the cost of living, which will give you accolades for your legacy for the next 10 years. And then somebody is here wanting to scuttle that process. No.
Remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just move them completely.
No.
Fire them.
No.
Tell
The
their
message
appointing authority
the
to
message
appoint
is more
someone else.
impactful. The message is, because you're asking why move an entire department essentially leaves you toothless. Exactly. It's a message, a stronger one.
Tell the
It's not
appointing
about
authority,
the-
look,
it's
this
not about
guy
the
is not
operations
working,
of
he's
government.
not entering my room.
It's not about
Bring
the
me
operations
somebody
of
else.
government at that point. It is the political message that is being sent right now. I will defang you.
Eric, the tradition that we have in our government, people get sacked, but it's rare. Most times, they render you redundant.
That's it.
Meaning, you're transferred, you don't have an office, but you've been transferred.
Mwangi Kionjori was fired. Okay.
Mwangi Kionjori was the president's appointee.
Right.
That was his person. He appointed him, and he could do as he
And
saw
then he
fit.
aligned himself with the other side.
Yes.
And so he was removed.
Quickly.
So the thing is, there was
Eric.
there were other CSs even in the first term who were dismissed. Okay?
Yes.
The person who Charles Cattell replaced at Energy was fired.
Yes.
Okay, what was his name again? I forget him. He was in the Electoral Commission. He had been in the Jubilee.
We will
campaign.
remember.
We'll remember. Right? He was dismissed.
Yes.
And they brought Charles Cattell.
Yes.
Same thing should have happened.
Look.
Just tell the appointing authority, okay, so you do this, This Cattell man, home, you give me another name.
Why don't we take this discussion further?
Give me another name. And then we can dance around agreement about for that name.
Since you're talking about
until
sacking.
September, until July next year. Appoint them in July.
Since you're talking about sacking, we had that in Duale here. Was he not leader of the majority?
Exactly.
What happened? Aside.
Yes.
Some people who had been nominated were not so fortunate. Away. Meaning, today nominated, you have this job. Away. I mean, the appointing authority nominates you. They can unnominate you. Okay? What am I saying? There are people who are looked at and seen as, this one you just go. Yes. Yes. Don't forget lighter duties. Just go and find other duties. Forget lighter or not. It's up to you.
Just go look for duties.
You go. The opportunity has passed you by. End of that story. Now, what we are seeing is our political vaccinations in action. We're actually seeing it, how it works. Meaning, you are not going to bite the hand. No, you're just going to take a small bite and then blow into it.
I've remembered the name, Davis Chirchir.
Yes.
Davis Chirchir was the first CS for petroleum and energy in the Uhuru administration. When the president went and read some names in parliament, he was among those that were removed.
Yes.
And then they went to the Senate and they got Mr. Kater to come.
Yes.
Serve in that ministry.
Yes.
Do the same, Buana.
For all you know, there was an understanding and an agreement at that point in time.
Yeah, I'll put you for now, and then after some time, don't worry, I'll remove you. Just, you never know. That's the thing here.
Look, this was a Nusumkate government, and it was a genuine Nusumkate government.
Give us your list of people.
And lists were given. In fact, choose.
And these are my ministries.
Yes,
and these are the ones
this
I
ministry
want.
and this ministry you're not touching, but
Give us
but
this.
the others, choose.
You play around with.
Yes.
So I've not fired you. I repeat, I've not fired you, but there's some things I won't allow you to do politically. To stick it to me politically, now, stay there. You can still be a snake, but you will have no fangs.
Let's go to the phone lines. Let's hear what do you think. 0719-012-600. Gekonyo wa Waithera.
Baba Waithera is there and they're waiting for you people. And I'm happy. I'm happy you're having a very good discussion. And I hope all of you, every one of you there is okay.
We are fine.
We're fine, sir.
Including our agent, Mr. Mwalimu Andrew there.
Yes.
And I hope we show him around the studio when he can't see well, yeah? Because of his old age.
Oh.
Anyway.
My God.
Okay. He's a good guy.
My brother, you seem to speak as though someone has informed you that I have one foot in the grave. Far from it.
No, no, I can't go there to do what? I don't know what we call it. I have forgotten. But you are good. You are a good guy, and we pray God that He is going to give you more wisdom and more years.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Now, this is the thing that I want to say, Mr. Eric and the company. Now, taking my phone was your prerogative. It was your discretion. Probably based on what I've been contributing, And you find that, this guy has got some points that he raises. So it was your prerogative and it was your discretion, purely discretional, and you are doing your job. You are doing your job and no one can come and complain.
Yes.
Now, this is the point I want to make where using that example, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta has got a mandate to actually see that his administration is flowing well and there is no objection, It is his discretion. It is his prerogative to say that, Mr. Eric was here, but now I hear that, this guy is getting intelligence, every hour or every minute, that he is not in line with us. So I should change him. And let me say this, Yesterday, I watched Mr. Rigathi Gachagua, and one particular statement that he made actually made me angry and wonder, what kind of leaders do we have, He said that Mr. Sijui Ketel, was transferred from a docket to another docket where there is nothing. So I wondered, what is this nothing that he's talking about? And the Kikuyu in me told me he's talking about money.
Yeah.
He is also a Kikuyu, Do you understand? So it was easy for me to interpret or to decipher the message. Let me tell you this, Let me tell you this, Mr. Eric. You remember, I don't know whether you watched Mr. Kapalo, the former, very respected elder. He said, he wanted people that if you elect some guys, he never mentioned names, In fact, he used the phrase, Nyinyi mutakula mavi. I also want to refer you to the Bible where I don't know, some people were complaining, change us for this, change us this leader. He is not good. And then some guy, I think I'll be very, very close to my Bible. He wanted them. You want so and so, okay.
It is First Samuel. It is the Israelites who wanted a king.
Oh, yeah. Then he told them, this guy shall come and he shall feed you on scorpions. And I think scorpions, I've never seen them, but I know how they are, So, Mr. Kaparo has been in the political arena for a long time. He is also an elder. It means that his words, given his age, can even be accepted in a court of law. His view, because of his institutional memory.
So bottom line, Zachary.
Bottom line is this, let everyone be warned. You are complaining Sijui petrol is high, Sijui bread is high, Sijui frequencies are also telling us that we must also have money because of the economy.
Yeah.
All this is good, But then we are blaming the current regime, And I'm not supporting. I told you that I'm not an apologist of anybody, But I'm basing myself on the facts, depending on now such discussions, what I've gained from this such a discussion that we are having, is it? People be warned. Use your head. Why should one complain that sijui huyu ametolewa hapa, amepelekwa pale, hakuna pesa? So it means that his only motivation to leadership and serving people is what am I getting? You understand?
Yeah.
And let everybody wake up to that reality and try to actually separate the grain from the wheat from the chaff.
Thank you, Zachary. Have a good day.
Have a nice day, guys.
You too.
Thank you.
Edwin on Mombasa Road. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Morning, team. I want to make a short contribution about this issue. Now, they are saying that familiarity breeds contempt.
Yep.
Now, look at the time Charles Ketel has been the energy docket, and with the engineer, the Joroge, the PS. And Joroge was also in Kenya Power at a certain point.
Yes.
And now you can see the issues that have come up with Kenya Power. And you get the feeling that these guys may have been part and parcel of the issue, have contributed in one or the other to the issues that are affecting Kenya Power.
Mm-hmm.
So take it this way. Now, this is a task force that brings about the implementation. So even without the politics here, Eric, I want to disagree with you that he should have just fired Charles Ketel. Because, for example, if you are in a school environment and you are teaching a certain subject in class 8 and the students fail, definitely you are not fired. You are taken back to class 4. So, here, I honestly feel that...
You're only taken back to class 4 in public schools. If I owned a private school,
yes,
I dismiss you.
But this is a public institution now.
That's where the problem is. Fire the man.
Yeah. But now, back to the issue of these issues we're having with the high cost of power. There may be some truth in that these two gentlemen may have been factors that contributed to this problem we are in. And definitely you cannot unmess yourself. You have to be moved out and somebody else to come in, and you can see now jeshi linaingia hapa ndani.
Sort out the mess.
Yes, to sort out the mess. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edwin. You're on what part of Mombasa Road are you on?
No, I'm not on Mombasa Road. I'm actually on Thika Road. I don't know. There's a time I was on Mombasa Road. I placed a call. I'm on Thika Road and we are just swerving around traffic with my children from school.
Okay. Have a lovely day, Edwin.
Same.
25 minutes to 10. Let's take this break. See what's happening on the roads. So there's been some chaos on Westlands this morning. The Kenya was supposed to reopen sections of Mombasa Expressway.
It's still the 30th, don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll happen at some point.
Worry.
So, let's hear what's happening.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life.
Hey, it's getting hot in here. The media has greatly contributed to the moral rot that we experience in this country.
I remember a senior politician telling me, point blank, nobody steals in the field, it's stolen in the granary. So my friend, if you're going to win an election, jipange kwa granary.
I think we are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Our violator and abuser is also our redeemer in our mind.
The whole political class, the whole political institution is rotten. It is based on ideals that cannot progress our country forward.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
We are still looking at cloudy conditions in Nairobi this morning at 20 degrees, highs of 27 and lows of 15. It's sunny in Nakuru at 19, highs of 27 and lows of 14. Nyeri town raining at 17, highs of 24, lows of 15 today. And in Eldoret, it's mostly cloudy at 20, highs of 26 and lows of 13. In Mombasa, cloudy conditions continue at 27, highs of 29 and lows of 24. While in Malindi this morning, light rain in some parts at 27, highs of 29 and lows of 25. Kisumu is mostly cloudy at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 20. While in Kakamega, it's mostly cloudy at 25 with highs of 29. We'll see lows of 16. Out into Kampala, it's partly sunny at 21, highs of 28 and lows of 19. And Dar es Salaam is mostly sunny at 28, highs of 30 and lows of 23. Johannesburg, partly sunny at 14, highs of 23 and lows of 13, while in Lagos, rain showers continue at 25, highs of 30 and lows of 24. Kinshasa is mostly cloudy at 25. We'll see lows of 24 and highs of 32. Out in Beijing, it's sunny at 22, highs of 23 and lows of 15. And in Paris, 7 degrees, sunny conditions, however, highs of 17. London, cloudy at 16 with highs of 19 and lows of 10. And waking up to Thursday, New York is cloudy. We'll see highs of 19 and lows of 10. It still does continue to be crazy coming out of Westlands. That issue today, not quite sure exactly what's happening. The road was supposed to be opened. There's still some time. Let's wait and see what happens. But in the meantime, you're going to have to contend with traffic, and there's quite a lot of it. The Red Hill Link Road, for the first time in a while, has a lot of traffic spilling over from Waiaki Way. We're also looking at that whole area that then has its fingers on Westlands. Kileleshwa backed up towards State House. Yeah, it's a spider's web of traffic today. We're also looking at it on Gong Road, coming off of Bagathi Way, very tight, guys. And that's feeding off from Langata Road. Landis Road is an absolute mess, coming off of Jogo Road and Lusaka Road. Coming into Langata Road today, guys, it doesn't look pretty at all. That Airtel position also on the thicker on Mombasa Road, outbound. It's quite something. So we're not yet out of traffic hour this morning. It's going to take a few more minutes than normal. Let's keep an eye on things, however. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Text us on 40127 through today.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94 points
to 10. Conversations continue. So, the other issue that happened yesterday was that missive that was fired by the Foreign Affairs Ministry to the High Commission of Pakistan. And that was preceded by the press statement from the Ministry of Interior by PS Dr. Kibicho, who was talking about the alarm that the government has over the increased number of foreigners who are using Kenya as a transit hub and then staying for a while before they leave. And then saying that the government is going to unleash a crackdown on any illegal persons in the country. And then telling Pakistan that from this point on, we are suspending the issue of a free visa into the country, requirements into the country, where you come and you just receive your visa at the airport. No. We need to restrict Pakistanis coming through Kenya, going to the Middle East. Now, this is a matter that has taken place, and you said it's been months.
It has been. It has been going on for some time.
Kenyans have been going on social media. What's happening? Who are these people?
There've been no answers
seeing people.
until-
Who are these people? Government spokesman comes and says, those are tourists.
Tourists. They've come to see Nairobi.
The Ministry of Interior goes quiet, completely quiet. The chief doesn't know who they are. All the way up to the CS is not saying anything about who these people are. And then suddenly the PS says, oh, by the way, most of these people are Pakistanis. They are here because we have an arrangement with Pakistan. You don't need much restriction in terms of accessing a visa. And then they take action.
So what happened? What went? The question is, then what went awry? Between them having valid papers and they're all right until, hold on a minute, we are severing this relationship, this agreement rather, and we're not going to allow you to get visas on arrival anymore. What was the light bulb moment, if there was one? Why was it all right and then suddenly not all right? Because what has changed? What has changed? Except that more people are coming into the country and using it as a transit point. What has changed? Or was it because there was public outcry? And now people are asking, hold on a minute, we still have COVID. This is very near to where one of the deadliest strains of COVID is rampant. Why are we allowing them into the country? Are these folks not quarantining? Is there a protocol coming from government in terms of how they're supposed to operate? What is going on? Did it take the people to start asking these questions, then for the realization to dawn on these three very important ministries of Interior, Foreign Affairs, and Health to say, wait, stop the train. This actually should not be happening.
You know, many Kenyans will say it's because Kenyans took to social media to ask questions about this, and then the media started also asking the same questions. I don't think the government is reacting to public. I think the government is reacting to
There's something else.
Communication from elsewhere.
Yes.
More specifically from Saudi Arabia.
This
saying, people coming from Kenya are now going to be put in that red list.
So watch
So
it.
chunga sana. And then like, wait. We are going to be bad. We're going to have this restriction just because the guys. Okay,
Now, even
let's
you
take
don't
action.
come.
Let's
That's
take
what I'm
action.
saying. Because this thing did
It's not because Kenyans are asking questions.
But my point
Nope.
is, this is the thing, that these social media postings or whatever did not start this week. They've been on social media forever. So if the government was going to pick up on it and say, actually, hold on, then they would have done it months ago, Abby. It would have been months ago if they realized that there was a threat, because COVID did not start also this week. It's been there. And you will notice, even in the note verbal that came from MOFA, there was nothing mentioned about COVID. It's not that issue. There's something else. And then for that to be the answer, it was not about health. It's government to government who is just telling you this is how it's going to be. All these other explanations did not come in. Didn't come in.
Well, the Sora did. Kind of Sora. Because the note verbal from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the Pakistani High Commission in Kenya says the government of Kenya regrets that some of these passengers are taking advantage of Kenya's status with these countries with regard to the COVID-19 quarantine regulations. It threatens to undermine Kenya's agreements with these countries, which are put in place to ensure continuation of business and travel operations between our countries. Kenya seeks Pakistan's cooperation and solidarity in ensuring adherence to these arrangements. It's a fundamental imperative as the world seeks to contain the pandemic and ensure full economic recovery. So you see there's COVID being mentioned here, one way or the other.
Who is that statement attributed to?
This
to the Pakistani government.
No. This is the Kenyan Ministry of Foreign Affairs
To the
Pakistan High Commission.
High Commission in Kenya.
It's basically the government of Kenya communicating to the government of Pakistan, and telling the government of Pakistan, you know what? Your guys have been in my country for a while, and they are on their way to some countries. Now, they come here because those countries have issues about quarantine and the number of days that someone needs to get quarantined before they land there. Now, you see that arrangement that your people are using my country. Now, that is putting my country
at risk.
At risk. Because those countries could bar my citizens from accessing those countries just because my country has been used by your citizens.
Yes, but you see now, the threat, so it's not, so now, this is what I'm saying. Look at the complaints that have come out in social media. Number one, okay, are we seeing that there's a threat because of COVID, etc., etc., etc.? This doesn't feature in this communication from MOFA.
Of course, it can't feature
You
because
see, this is my point,
the
Eric.
Kenyan government cannot tell Pakistan government,
My point,
you know I have COVID.
My point is that it is not about the threat that is in country. It is about the threat that could affect a relationship between Kenya and somebody else. That's my point. And that's what I'm saying. Had it been about the threat, it's very easy for government to say, hold on a minute, we have COVID protocols here, you guys are not abiding by them. But that's not it. It's about what could be the risk, possibly, with other countries that we do not want to be red listed from. That's it. It's not about public eye cry. If you want to cry out publicly, you can do it until you're blue in the face. Nothing to do with that.
Ed Getonga.
How are you guys? Morning.
Good morning.
I'm in cold Karatina. No, here's the thing.
You're in a very noisy place, Ed. Would you like to move a bit?
Sorry, yeah, I've moved.
Okay.
I was saying, I think part of it, were it not that the public had an outcry,
Yep.
the government, I think, applies a certain logic that most of us men apply, which is deny until caught. When you're caught, when you're doing the life, that's when you're like, by the way, it's caught, lakini ilikuwa hivi. And I think, I'm going to say this. This is the same problem that we were having when the country was facing so many attacks from Al-Shabaab during that time. But there's one thing that I can tell you, Eric. This government, I think, it needs to be on its own. Because we don't need to do its job. Us as the people. We don't need to do the government's job. It's not a matter of us. When we are driving to Nairobi, that's when we are seeing guys, Wahindi wamejaa, but then hata ni Pakistanis, they're here for. Seriously speaking, we shouldn't be doing their job. If someone is sleeping in that department, you should go.
But Ed, do you really think that there's somebody sleeping or there's somebody who's wide awake and has understood how it is that they could benefit from this situation? I mean, you think the Pakistanis figured Kenya is the best place to land before you go to Saudi? Or did somebody say, by the way, you know us, we have a very easy pact with Saudi. So since there's this matter of COVID and you are required to do this, transiting through Kenya becomes very, very useful. And it's explained.
So someone saw an opportunity and exploited the opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
Someone, a business person or a government official?
The difference is?
Yes, through that opportunity.
And what's the difference?
And they took advantage of it.
But what's wrong with that anyway?
Civil servants in this country are business people.
Okay.
Yes.
The thing is, Eric, if we make this country a doorway, so to speak, you know, and it's funny, Kenya is, we are very, I'm going to say we are, sorry to use this word, but we are idiots when it comes to philanthropy.
Why are you apologizing for using the word idiot? Because it's not, most people think the word idiot is an insult. It isn't. It's actually a description.
Wow. Okay, we are idiots in philanthropy.
Carry on.
That was a quick lesson.
Because this is how. You remember there was a time we were facing backlash just because we wanted to close the dam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, were it not for those small measures that we wanted to do, the attacks would still be happening, irrespective of whether KDF was in play or not.
Okay.
The thing is, Eric, I think this country needs to shape up.
Okay, and do what? Are you saying that we should close our borders and not allow? What is he saying? No. I'm not getting.
But Ed, consider for a moment. The papers have been awash with news about Kenyans who have died in the Middle East and who are in employment, most of them as house help. Have we forgotten the drama around quarantining people at the time when COVID first hit our shores? Have we forgotten the drama that was around the Ministry of Health, the same immigration department? Have you forgotten that drama?
How we managed it?
Yes. Now, if you look at that drama, do you really think that the people who are behind some of these things suddenly went away and went to some other country? They're still here.
It's the same people.
Yes.
They're still here.
It's the same people.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Have
you.
a good one, guys.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you. You know, on the one hand, and I think I even said it earlier, I see that we have bungled a very good opportunity for this country in terms of business. With that favorable condition that we have with Saudi Arabia, which still allows our citizens to come out of Kenya and go into Saudi Arabia, we could have managed this thing better. This transit, Kenya being a transit hub, set up proper protocols where, yes, people who are in transit are coming into the country, they quarantine, and the quarantine is very properly managed. So you can assure the people of the government of Saudi Arabia that, yes, they've come into Kenya, but the quarantine facilities are well managed. The quarantine method is actually done very well. And so when they're coming to your country, it's safe. We could have done that. But here we are. We just said, okay, let them come. The people who have given them facilities to stay in, people who are running hotels, Airbnbs, and other hospitality facilities, they just don't understand. Okay, these people are coming, so what do I need to do? All that could have been arranged very well.
By the way,
and the government taken charge of it.
It is true.
And it would have made a lot of money. Thousands of foreigners coming, occupying spaces in this country. Our hospitality sector was badly hit by COVID-19. Manage it, make money, let them go.
You see, Eric, you are stating it as though you think somebody isn't making money from this.
No, people are making money. You see, even the ordinary person who's renting out the Airbnb, they've made money.
They have.
Okay? The agent is making money.
Thank you.
There's somebody who is facilitating from government is making money.
Government
but we could have
itself
even
is
done it
making
much. We could have done much better.
Government itself
Instead
is
of
making
now
money.
closing this, because now those taps have just been shut.
Oh, by the way,
Instead of mismanaging to a point where we have to shut the taps, we could have done better.
Yeah, and then foreigners are coming in paying $50 a pop for a visa. Thousands have come in so far. You're looking at, a lot of money.
How much?
Not only that, but again, just from a social perspective, how do you tell the difference if you're an ordinary Kenyan between an Afghani and a Pakistani? How do I tell the difference?
I don't know.
Especially when you look at the way they dress. Pakistan is right in the middle of Afghanistan and India. Okay? Then there's the Arabian Sea on the other side. Now, tell me, anything that happens in this country, do you really think that the Ministry of Interior is not aware of all these happenings?
Of course they're aware.
Precisely.
Korea in Nyeri.
Hi guys, how are you?
Very well.
Hi.
Me, I ask myself, what is the core function of a government? Is to protect the interests of its own citizens. Now, I'll give a scenario of the earlier discussion. Now, if at all unapika kwa kitchen na nyama imekataa kupikwa vizuri, huyo jamaa utamwambia aende kwa vitunguu aanze kutengeneza kachumbari.
Atoke kwa jiko mara moja.
Sio atoke kwa jiko bana.
If you can't chop onions, why am I giving you meat to chop?
Good. Now I come to the performance of the company.
No, maybe the person is good at boiling vegetables.
Okay, then the same character who appointed you kwa nyama, yeye tu sasa amekwambia wewe kuja unaweza enda kwa mboga. Now the problem that we have is that the government does not know its core mandate towards its citizens. Sorry to say that. That is why, Eric, you see, when the prices of fuel is so high, the best the president will do is to, let us call ngoja huyu tutoe huyu PS wa energy, ngoja tutoe mpuku huyu wa energy ndivyo Wakenya watulie. That is not the problem. The problem is the functions and the functionality of the department of each government. Now, man, Eric Nikubaya, my friend, you remember there was a time I told you, when you come to Nyeri, you will buy 3 cabbages and get 5 free. My friend, right now as we speak, even 1 cabbage getting it, ask the price, you will tell me.
Too expensive.
So, but yes, it's very expensive.
So the other day you had a glut. Now there's a shortage. Okay.
So I want to remind the government, please go back to your functionality and ask yourself, what is my core mandate? I mean, Eric, your work is broadcasting. Sasa ukianza kuvia huko, uanze kukuja asubuhi unatupia muziki hapo. How about we who don't listen to rumba? We want to debate like the ones you are bringing there. Will you be incognito with us? Man, have a nice day. Sina ubaya niko kama.
Sawa tu Korea. Have a lovely day. Henry in Mombasa, good morning.
Morning, Eric. How are you today?
Salama kabisa.
I think we must understand African states. African states are many nations inside country boundaries. And therefore, the main government doesn't deal with the whole caboodle of nations. It deals with its own. If it's good for its own, then we're good to go. Others can complain. And that's why you had in 2013, when Ruto was given his chance to choose his minister, he chose from his nation. And it didn't matter whether other nations are represented or not. And that's the problem with African states. So when you talk about government, you must understand which nation it stands for. And once you understand that, otherwise we'll have the same story as Africans that we could subscribe in Europe, because Europe are already nation states. We are still within the boundaries, the conflictual boundary, the anarchical boundaries that were decided in 1889 in Berlin.
So, Henry...
That's my 2 cents.
Henry.
Yes, Charlie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Henry. So, you are saying this is the same sort of situation that one saw and witnessed in Yugoslavia, or the former Yugoslavia?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. They even Tito tried to marry other women so that people can have a sense of belonging. It didn't work. It didn't work. They had to separate into their own nations and then start from scratch.
Hey, Henry, that's a nice one.
Charlie, I like your hair.
Thank you. It's
No, he changed. He's no longer Charlie.
I'll buy you a comb. I'll buy you a comb when your birthday comes in.
He's no longer Charlie. He's now Moses. You're waiting for him to hand over to Joshua so we can cross over.
With his wobbly knee.
Yes.
Anyway, guys, you have a great day.
You too.
Andrew, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Mr. Charlie, give us today's proverb.
One does not enter the water and then run from the cold.
What does one do?
One enjoys the cold. You might be excused the first time you dip yourself into water and there's this matter of the cold that is unsettling. But since a bath is not something, or washing is not something that happens once a year, then the sooner you get accustomed to the cold, the livelier and better your life will be.
Thank you. Ndu.
Sir.
20 seconds, say goodbye.
Do have yourselves a wonderful day. Let's keep talking, guys. Some of these things you can't let it go just like that. Be involved. Be involved, at least in the conversations. Yes, yes.
Go tell your neighbors. If you're not thinking about the next MCA, you'll still be coming here and telling us, Syokimau, there are no dispensaries. Oh, take charge. Have a lovely day, people. It's now 10 a.m.
Spice up your life